5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bust it.
You already know who it is, what it is, where it is.
And what it do?
Black Men and Cigars podcast. You got your own one and only fear coach, D'Amico's Chambers in the building. AKA, yeah, it's him in the flesh. BKA, he look good. I think my aunt and my mama might like him.
AKA, why you got them glasses on? Somebody must have dotted your shit.
Man, listen, man. I'm feeling famous today because we got a famous person in the building. You know what I'm saying? But we going to get to him in a minute. But I just got to make sure that he ain't the only one in here stunting. Even though he disrespected us today. You know what I'm saying? We thought he was going to be...
Look, well, I'm talking shit. What we talking about?
We thought he was going to treat us like he going when he go on them white shows.
I need a photo shoot like this, man.
Look, he was even on Tasha K dressed up.
I wasn't on Tasha K.
But look. All right, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Yo. Y'all got y'all favorite HR guy, Mark Anthony, a.k.a. Same Man, Different Hat. I got a fresh cut today. I'm going to be honest
For
with
real?
y'all. You ain't see me during the week. I was growing my hair out, so I look like a mad scientist.
Nah, you trying to look like Chico Bean.
That hairline was out there
real?
with the LeBron in the middle. It was not nice, but I did all my interviews like that too.
Picture.
I did hell no. I tried to do that little hair color app to change your hair.
Yeah.
That shit look fucked up. But
damn, man, you should have wore a hat.
No, what?
To the interviews I'm talking about.
Oh no, I might do that one day with a hoodie.
You know what I'm saying? That'd be
with a hoodie.
And we got the one and only, man. We got Jesus' chosen one in the building. Jesus' chosen one from Haiti. You know what I'm saying? We got the building.
We got the best-selling
in the building.
Best-selling author.
You know what I'm saying?
We got a speaker.
He sold a few books. You know what I'm saying?
We got the certified relationship or life coach. Is it life coach?
Life and relationship coach.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
That's
hey,
what we got.
He just do a lot and help a lot of people.
We got two life coaches in the building right now.
Man. Hey, man, I'm the life coach junior though. You know what I'm saying? This is the vet over here. This is one who helped get me in the game. You know what I'm saying? The one and only. Are we going to go with Stephan Speaks or are we going to
Stefan Speaks?
Are we going to go to Labossiere?
We're going to go. It's messed up how cool y'all are. By how much he don't give a fuck about your name.
Exactly, right?
Bro, I do be messing up the Stephen and stuff up. Hey, man, it sound the same. You know what I'm saying? People mess up my name all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your name not spelled like a normal human being.
Hilarious.
Like you don't have a regular name.
I knew something was going on when my mom missaid my name one time.
Your name was probably spelled wrong anyway.
Bro,
and they just rock with it.
That's probably a fact, though. But, all right, we got Stefan. Stefan Speaks.
Yeah.
What, dude? That don't even sound right.
It sounds perfectly right.
I mean, I guess, but I'm so used to calling you, going by Labossiere and calling you Steven. You know what I'm saying? And well, actually, I don't call you by name at all. But
that's why people don't know y'all cool.
That's probably why I don't. Yeah, because I don't ever say your name, and then when I'm referring to somebody, I always refer by Labossiere. So. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Chilling,
I mean, I appreciate you coming to the podcast,
man.
You come to kick it with the black men on the rise. You know what I'm saying? On the come up.
Hey,
this part of his volunteer work that he's doing this year.
Yeah, the pro bono.
Yeah, it's the pro bono work. You know what I'm saying? But in all seriousness, man, I had to come out.
I just looked up and I saw your sleeves.
Oh, what? Well, listen, man. Hey, we're a work in progress.
Sleeves,
listen, we gotta get. That's what we gotta get sponsors. You know what I'm saying? So we can get our what's the people who clothe you and stuff?
Man, tailors.
Well, tailor. I definitely need a tailor and a dress person to dress you. A stylist. That's what they call it. A stylist. But anyway, man. All jokes aside, though, one of the things is, man, I wanted to bring you on, man, because to get into, there's a lot of relationship stuff going on, especially with this whole manosphere right now going on.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
He was talking heavy about this.
Yeah, manosphere, and then too, man, I wanted to give you your flowers too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
appreciate it.
I always give Mark, I always give my appreciation of him in my journey. All the time. We always have these yearly talks, especially on the podcast. But it's like three men that I hold dear to my life in this. Mark is you, and it's Conrad, because y'all been there since day one. You know what I'm saying? Especially he was there when, he's like, oh, we got the house, and then we went south. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for holding me down, man, just for being a great friend, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you Mark and Rad, you know, y'all like brothers to me. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Conrad next.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you ain't met Conrad yet?
No, Conrad next on the show.
Oh man, no man, Conrad, man. Hey man, he gonna even trip by me saying his name. He gonna be like, hey yo son, you know, can't be saying my name publicly. But anyway, man, for real, I just want people to know, you do a lot of great stuff, man. Like you're a great human being behind the scene, not just in the content. Like it's authentic with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people, I just want people to realize and know that, like, you are really a helpful, contributing human being aside from just the business content and the Christian content, the relationship and love content. Like, you really a loyal, solid dude, man. For real. I don't know how much you get that enough, you know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure you know that, you know, from the bottom of my heart, you know what I'm saying, that I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? I love you, man.
That's what we talking about. This is our Valentine episode, man.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, but for real, you know, like, man, we don't, you don't seen it. You seen the best and worst of me, man. So it's man, I just love seeing you shine, man. That's it, man. It's dope, man.
Nico, you sound like you smitten.
Nah, man, because I see stuff on do a lot of these interviews and stuff. I want people to know he really is that dude in real life.
Okay.
Like, you know, he's. Man, shut up, man. Mark just jealous. That's what that is. Mark jealous. I'm just Mark jealous,
taking
man.
it all in.
He wants some more flowers, too. Go ahead, man.
It's fine. I'm cool with it.
But I want to start back, and I want to start
Tell me
here.
about your youth. That's what
Oh, yeah. Because I see you do all these interview things, but I feel like people don't really get to know the man behind the advice giving. You know, the man behind the cloth. You know, where is it that you come from? Because you come off, if anybody talk to you, they swear you from New York.
Yeah.
All the time. They're like, oh, what part of Jersey you from or New York you from? He be like, excuse me. He be like, nah, son, I'm Miami.
I was saying, no,
I'm like, damn. But yeah, tell the people where you from, man, and how'd you started getting involved with the advice giving in relationships?
So technically, I was born in New York.
Oh, for real?
But, yeah.
I don't want to correct them, but that's what happens when you do research. You know what I'm saying?
I told you, Mark was excited about this.
Geeked out.
So, but I was only there as a baby. So I was only there for like maybe till 3 max.
Dang.
So I was raised in Miami. You know what I'm saying? So Miami is what I know. And
Also, your folks from actual Haiti?
yeah,
Okay.
folks from Haiti moved to New York, and then from New York we moved down to Miami. We was in Miami, I don't know, 20 something years or whatever. And then of course came to Georgia.
Oh, so you came to Georgia as an adult?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And you know, getting started, it was just the path God led me on. You know what I'm saying? I really.
Here we go.
I mean,
Here you go.
that's
He couldn't
the
leave
real
that out,
answer.
but-
That's the real answer. Like, yo, I would never.
Leave that.
I would have never done this stuff. It was up to me.
Mm.
Like, yo, I failed. I graduated high school late because I didn't turn in papers.
What?
Because I hate writing.
What? No, no way. Because you start off as a blogger.
Dude, I blogged because that's what I felt led to do. I hate writing.
No. Bro,
But yes,
that is
I had
crazy.
a blog.
That is crazy.
My degree's in MIS, Management Information Systems. My degree is
Ah.
IT. So
I never knew that.
So I graduated high school late because I didn't want
I
to write
thought you was
papers.
a dropout like me.
No, I
You always
graduated.
want company.
I graduated that fall rather than graduating in the spring. So I had to go to school in the summer and then again in the fall.
Well, why you graduate so late?
Well, first,
Procrastinator.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
So
gotcha.
first, because I had turned in these papers, then after I made up a class in summer, I thought I was good, and the council was like, "No, we made a mistake. You still missing some credits."
Got you, bitch.
Bring your ass here, boy.
So they had to go to night school in the fall. Then went to college at FIU, and I just basically got by in college, to be honest with you, because I hated school. But I love psychology, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was gonna ever be doing this, but at that time, it makes sense when I look back, and I'm like, damn, I was a student in psychology. I had no problem in psychology. So
Did they think you was just going? Because everybody else who also meet you always think you used to be some athlete.
nah,
Like you
I
played
mean, I
pro
played.
ball.
No, I ain't never played pro. We know that, but I
No,
played
for
with-
real. Some one girl told me, she's like, "Oh, what team he play for?" I was like, He don't play no football.
I mean, I played sports in high school.
But you just got the makeup of a typical athletic
So do you.
N-word. I mean, yeah, that's true too. But I'm just saying, like, I would never think you were a writer, and I never thought you went to school for IT. And you went to FIU, right?
Yeah.
So FIU, they have a big football program.
Well, actually, I think when I was leaving, that's when the football program was starting off.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I didn't get a chance to partake in it. Because if I ain't gonna lie, if it was there and was going when I was there, I would have tried out.
Okay.
But would you have made it with your grades?
I'm saying he's hell no. It wasn't no dig.
Listen, to my understanding, as long as you were 2.0 and above, you can make the team. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Oh, this ain't like Coach Carter. You gotta have the 3.0.
So it depends on what they would have made the standard for the grades to be. But yeah, so I just after that, I was just doing real estate investment. I was working at a call center. And then
Was your personal trainer too?
Yep, did that too.
That boy was.
I was doing everything. I had a computer repair company.
What?
I had what other company? Oh, film company. We had a show on Comcast down Miami.
right.
I'm dead ass serious. I ain't never tell you all this.
You was that dude that the women be dating and they be like, he gonna make it one day.
One of these
gotta
things
stick it
gonna
out.
hit, right?
They gotta
stick
stick
it
it
out with him.
Somebody mama mad at hell.
I was.
That boy with the braids. You always had hair, right? The braids.
At that time, I had cornrows.
Oh,
Cornrows, and I would rock an afro sometimes.
Yeah,
Was
you had a long
jealous of
jersey.
you in college? Was you always the dude that got all the girls because you was all empathetic? And
You
was
know
the
what? I
handsome
was.
guy?
I don't really know. I ain't really pay attention to other people, but. I'm not saying.
You know you're cool. That's how you know
Right.
you're cool.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you know you was in the in crowd.
I was quiet, man. I was just to myself. But I will say that, believe it or not, in high school, I was super, super shy. I didn't really interact with a whole lot of people, especially my senior year. In college, I started, I guess you could say, come out my show more. But
What you
definitely got good attention. I'll say that.
Oh, okay.
Definitely got a good amount of attention. But
We're gonna have you bring your school book.
I will say there was one situation. It was me and my homeboy. We used to sit at these couches they had in this little chill area, and a lot of times, in college, a lot of times these women would come to us. We just sit there. Women would come, sit down, talk to us, all this stuff. And then one day, my boy he went to the bathroom, and I guess he's washing his hands. Tell me what happened. And this dude comes out the stall and just mean mugs him on his way out the bathroom. And we're like, what the was that?
Were they upperclassmen?
Nah, I mean, same
He peaked game.
same grade, but
Okay.
I think there was some. I would say this. I'm not gonna say it was like every dude's jealous or whatever, but I think there was some
Animosity.
dudes that was mad because we were getting a certain level of attention.
Everybody. When you in college and you in one of them
He
college
said high school,
environments-
right?
No, he's
This is
college.
college.
So you got the dorm area, but you got the area. Y'all was like chilling in like the like almost like the lobby
Yeah, exactly.
where everything go down. Like,
Yeah.
people just be chilling,
Or
playing.
like a
cards.
lounge area or something?
Yeah, so it's kind of where you see everybody.
Okay.
Everybody see you. You see everybody kind of walking through. You stay up too late. You know who going to who room, checking in and out. So they hating on y'all because y'all just chilling, minding your business. And
People come talk to us. Women come talk
And
to
so
us.
was you giving like advice back then? Like even kind of like
Well,
that was his couch.
I just want to know at what point did it click where you was like, man, I got a thing at helping people through their issues that they're dealing with.
it didn't click. It never really clicked for me until maybe I felt like God was leading me on the path. But I will say people would always come to me, like random people would meet me and tell me their whole life story. I remember meeting a girl and telling me how she's been molested. First day I met her, you know what I'm saying? People would just open up. Yeah, that's the thing. So when I look back, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see how the dots connect and how it would lead me on, how I was, you could say, destined for this path because there was always stuff there that kind of pointed to this kind of doing this kind of work.
I did my undergrad in psychology, hoping to do marriage and family therapy. Then I took a careers in psychology, and it was like $50,000. So you're gonna get your master's degree, and then you're gonna get licensed, and then you're gonna $50,000 what you're gonna make. And it was also just not enough black male representative around. So I'm in classes with all women, probably like at one place it was black women, but then all white teachers and all of that. So for me, I was like, one, I can't be living off no $50K a year, and then two, ain't no black men around here to actually motivate me to want to keep doing this. So needless to say, I left. I mean, I I finished it because I was far along, and then I ended up doing business for my master's. What made you keep going?
Plus girls didn't come and open up the market.
Why would you
not
talk
verbally. The other way, yeah, but not they didn't open up feelings wise.
First of all, what are you
Go ahead,
talking
my bad.
about?
Ask your
I'm a
question.
therapeutic soul. Well, what motivated you to, I guess, even go that way? Because was it any representation for you?
Nah, I mean, it wasn't. I know what the hell I was doing.
You were like one of the first.
Yeah, that's the thing. People don't realize I've been doing this for a minute, and
True.
I didn't know what, like, people would ask. I remember meeting people who would be like business coaches or whatever you want to call it. People trying to help me on there, and they'd be like, "All right, how much you trying to make?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how much I can make. I don't know."
50,000 they was talking about.
I would literally say to them, "Yo, I'm just doing this because I feel God is telling me to do this. I have no clue where this can go, what can happen. I had no idea it could get this big. None of that.
Who was your influence? Like
Nobody.
Freud.
Man, hold
God,
on. So,
that's it.
Where did you get that? All right, your first blog went up when? What year?
I think it was 2011.
Damn.
Were you, so at the time you were blogging, were you doing marriage and family therapy, or how did that?
No, so what happened was, all right, so I moved from Miami to Georgia. At that time I was surrounded by married couples. They were all coming to me for advice. So and I had an idea of writing a book before, but I always was just playing around with that idea. I wasn't really serious. And then talking to them and seeing the constant issues they were having, then I felt God kind of hit me with, no, it's time to write the book. So I'm like, all right, well, F it, I'll do it. And so I wrote the book. Then it was, all right, do the blog. So I started the blog. How to Get a Woman to Have Sex with You If You're Her Husband.
Yo, this guy, man.
If you're her husband.
Only
Man, talk about a bait click title, boy, in 2011. That's crazy.
And so then I did the blog or whatever, and yeah, from there it was just get on social media. I didn't even want to get on social media. I fought that for a minute. What? Yeah, I didn't want to get on Twitter. Instagram took me a while to get on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? For all that stuff, I'm low key. I'm to myself. So
that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Being on social media was like so foreign to me, but again, it felt like it's what I had to do. So yeah, I just kept. There was no influence as far as me looking at someone and saying, "Yo, I could do this," or me learning from somebody. And then let me say this. And so on that path, I was like, okay, you know what? I got certified as a coach. Then I said, let me go get my master's in marriage and family therapy. And so I started a program, and within the first semester, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing this.
Whoa, why?
Because there's too much red tape in clinical psychology. You know what I'm saying? Or clinical therapy. And so I was like, I know I can't be limited by that. I can't be having to worry about these guidelines and this and that. Exactly. That, yeah. And then they don't teach clinical therapists to. You're not really supposed to tell people what to do. You're supposed to help them come to their own conclusion. You kind of guide them on there. And so that's another thing. I was like, no, I need to be able to tell them. Because then sometimes they got to hear a certain specific thing. Yeah, right. So I just felt like it was too restrictive. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, nah, I'd rather just... And at that point, I was already getting business as just being a certified coach through social media. Yeah. So I'm like, do I really need to do this? Like, is this really the way? And I prayed about it and was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. So I was like, I left it alone. So I dropped it after the one semester.
Gotcha. You got to do intro courses.
And turn this paper in late.
He like the Mark Zuckerberg and shit. He's like, I don't need to finish. We got the basics.
So during this time when you was trying to figure out your writing and figure out the coaching, what were you doing to sustain yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Man, so.
Oh, here we go. Well, back when I was hustling before I found God.
I mean, one piece of it was the personal training. So at one point, I was training people who just got gastric bypass surgery.
Oh, you been on this.
You was on the BBL training. Okay. You a hustler, boy. I swear to God.
That was in Miami, huh?
No, that was in Georgia. My brother-in-law at the time, he's a physical therapist, and he was working for a doctor. So I went on with him, and I would train some of the clients who would go to this doctor to get the gastric bypass and help them lose weight and stuff like that. And I would do some personal training on the side as well. So there was that. as well as I still had like some of my properties because remember at one point I had like 15 properties at one point.
Oh, you was killing real estate like that?
Yeah. So before the bubble burst, I was going crazy.
I was envious of that time. I said it before because back then you could finesse a lot more.
Oh man, it was a different ball game.
You had between where Georgia and Miami?
Yeah, mainly in Miami though.
So
mainly
did
South
somebody
Florida.
give you like? Did your mom like pass on you a inheritance and you just flipped
No,
that?
my first condo was a family friend. My family friend, who was one of my best friend's brothers or whatever. He was selling his condo. He was trying to sell it to the condo to anybody in his family. None of them was biting on it. So he just mentioned it to us because we would always play basketball, whatever. He would throw it out there.
I heard that jump shot week.
And whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it. And literally, I did it with a good credit score and $1,000 on my credit card.
Get the hell out of here. How old was you
that's
then?
it. 25.
Get out of here, bro. Hold on.
Maybe
and
something
you
like
didn't,
that.
you didn't have any real estate training prior to that?
Nothing. I ain't get no money, no inheritance, no training, no nothing.
Good credit and $1,000 on a credit card.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
You used to be able to
Because he was, he was as a seller, he was covering the closing costs and everything like that. And the condo was super cheap. It was like $60,000. It might have been even less than that.
Damn.
So it didn't need much out of the pocket for me to get it. And I was a risk taker. I was the type of dude who's like, all right, either this is gonna work or I'm gonna fall on my face. I'll take a chance.
That is one thing about you, man. You take the risk, bro. You ain't gonna sit back and think about it too long. Like I know that you always calculate the risk and the reward, but after you come to your decision, it's going.
That's it.
It's either gonna fall or it's gonna work.
That's it.
You only cry about it if it fall, and if when it work, you double down on it.
That's it.
Man, you a hustler, bro.
That's it.
Like, do you get that from anybody? Is there anybody in your family that you think you picked it up from, or any influencer in the neighborhood that you just picked up that mentality?
I know my mom is like, she's always got to be doing something. She's very resourceful. You know what I'm saying? Even at her age now, she's not trying to be like, just sit back and do nothing. That's just not how she's wired. So I always would joke with like, yo, you did this to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I clearly got this from you because I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I got to always be working.
Right.
But then shout out to my father too, because like he was always, again, and I think it's also Caribbean culture. You know what I'm saying? At least the Caribbean culture I grew up in was about you go to work, you make stuff happen. You don't sit there and complain. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting you said that because academics was just on Vlad talking about that. He was like, when he came over from Jamaica and started going to school in New York, he said he would go to school and be, in class, paying attention and doing his work and everything. He said he just see the kids and the black kids in the class just cutting them and clowning around. To him, it never computed that. And he always thought he was just a really good student. Yeah. But he realized it's because all he did was study and do work. Because they took from his culture, Caribbean culture, West Indian, they take like going and pursuing a career, and especially through college and academics, like that's a business, that's a hustle. They don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? So he said he was like, it'd be all the black kids in the class acting up. He's like, yo, they wildin'. And so he was like, that's how he was able to capitalize on his success as a YouTuber, especially and excel academically as a student. It's funny you said you had your computer science degree because he also has a mathematics science degree. So it's crazy. He said your parents, the Caribbean parents, push you to go to a college and get like a trade skill.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too, because a lot of Caribbean coaches and even African coaches, for real, they be like, look, you go to college, you got 4 or 5 majors. You're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, IT now, like
accountant.
Right.
I started off as doing accounting.
For real?
Yep. You good at math? Go be an accountant. All right, fine.
Yeah,
I did 2 years,
Yeah.
and I never forget. I went to, I think it was Ernst & Young. It was one of the big 6. Because I was part of the National Association of Black Accountants.
Okay. Damn,
And
you've always been an overachiever.
And so we went to, it was some field trip or something to one of the big 6. And I never forget the dude was like, during tax season, you ain't got no life. If you want to go be with your kids for their sports game, that ain't going to happen.
That's real.
And the way he was breaking things down, I was just like, oh, hell no. I can't do this. This ain't for me. I don't like this restriction. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even gonna lie. I would have even gotten past probably accounting too if it wasn't for this. I hate to say it. It was this Asian kid in our class. Yeah. And all of us used to cheat off the boy. And it was
And you still started working in late.
Exactly. And I was like, man, forget this. It was just.
Cheat off the board.
Look at you now.
Right.
Look at where he at. Look
But accountant was definitely on that list of, like you said, there's doctor, accountant, computers,
It's crazy.
nursing.
It's crazy, but because like one thing I know about you, Stefan, is that you are very disciplined. Your discipline game is A1. But the thing that me and you connected, and that I know about you for sure, is you hate rules. Like you hate anything that restricts your movement, your ideas, your fluidity, anything that doesn't allow you to just go with your vibe and follow your beliefs.
Yeah.
You like, nah, F that. I'll figure out a way around it. And so it's like it seems like it's all you've always been that kid. Like you're not. It seemed like you weren't like a bad kid, but you just had a rebellious spirit to fight. Traditional routes or traditional ways?
I mean, shoot, even it reminds me of. So I told my mom this recently. I don't know if she had ever known, but I gave up on school after 6th grade.
What?
And what I mean by
he made a life. The life coach made a life decision.
yes, because
you waited until 8.
because here's what happened. When I was at the end of 6th grade graduating, I had A's and B's. And I remember asking one of the teachers, like, all right, so my A's and B's going to go on to middle school? Oh, no, they're gone. You start all over in middle school. And I'm like, so I did all this work for it not to count for nothing. And now I got to move on?
He was too logical as a shit.
Exactly.
Too logical,
So
bro.
at that point, I was like, yo, why am I going to work too hard? I'm going to do enough to pass. That's it.
You wild.
I just got to pass
You got
because
a wild
A's and
brain.
B's don't matter.
You got a wild brain.
What your mom say when you?
I didn't tell her
Not
that when
that
I
you
was
told
young.
her, but it shows, right?
So-
or did you just? You still?
I used to get all A's.
I
man.
was always a naturally smart kid,
Got you.
so I was still getting good grades for a while.
Yeah.
Middle school, I was
sure
still
you want them?
yeah, I'm straight.
Okay.
I was still doing pretty good.
Get 'em drinking on
I would get, they would get mad at me, sometimes get whoopings and stuff like that, because they always felt like they knew I wasn't trying hard enough. They didn't understand why. They just knew like you too smart to not get good grades.
Yeah.
Then when I went to high school, they put me in the IB program.
The who?
The IB, International Baccalaureate. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Smart.
That's if you want to go to college internationally, they'll accept your credit.
Or they'll give you like you can earn college credit while in high school.
Yeah.
And that's like when IB programs I think were first coming out or whatever.
Because I was in AB, so you got AB, which colleges accept. You can get college courses, and then you got IB. So when you see people graduating and they got above a 4.0,
Yeah.
they credits it's like if an A is counted as 5 points instead of 4. So instead,
Hey man, I feel like this is discrimination. As a kid. That's crazy because I was always on the technical program. and I thought
but
everybody
what's funny
else
is all them IB people I know never went to no international school. They went
Yeah,
to
and
Georgia Perimeter.
I told them to take me out the program.
What?
I was like, I can't do this. Again, it was just like it's too much work for something to me that didn't count.
you a
My
wild dude,
thing was this: I was always a smart kid, but if I don't find the right motivation, I'm not bothering with it. I have to find the right
They might
motivation.
have labeled you as ADD today.
Oh no, I think I am
You would've
ADD.
been like- You would have been like Theo Huxtable. Like how they just kept calling him stupid. He's like, nah.
I'll even give you one more story.
Yeah.
So I wanted to transfer from my school. I was going to North Miami, trying to transfer to North Miami Beach, and I had to like beg my parents. They didn't want to let me do it. They wanted to let me do it. Finally, like, all right, fine. So they took me to some kind of special office where they review these things, right? And the guy sat us down. He was like, I looked at your test scores. You know how we used to have to take those little tests and stuff? He's like, this doesn't make sense. You're getting nothing but 8s and 9s. 8 and 9s was the highest you can get. But your GPA is like a 2.0. And he's like, even he said, was like, no, you're too smart for this to be happening.
Yeah.
So maybe it is the environment. So he only granted me the transfer because to him it was like, okay, something has to be wrong because you're not doing as well as you should be doing.
Yeah.
And maybe you're just in the wrong place.
You're not being challenged.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I still didn't do good senior year. I didn't care. Because I was trying to transfer for football.
Oh, okay.
I
There
transferred
you
for
play sport.
football, and then it was the first year where if you I didn't know this.
You
It was
was
the
gonna
first
play
year.
DB?
Nah, receiver.
Okay.
It was the first
That's
year.
You had to sit that first year?
Yes, I didn't know that. So
Oh,
I'm like,
you gotta sit
damn. I lost the year, and
Yeah.
it ruined everything. I could have stayed at my first school and probably started that year.
Man, you've been treating life like a business since day one. This is crazy.
It's like it don't count
Right.
on the next level.
Yo, once he heard that,
I'm
he's
telling
like,
you.
You took that same approach in college?
I did. I did.
It makes unless you going and now, especially nowadays, the way colleges are set up, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, figure out what school you want to go to and then do that.
Right.
Like, people are unenrolling in school.
You know, once, not to cut you off, but once upon a time, GPAs used to matter when you graduated. But then it got to a point where it doesn't matter anymore, as long as you have the degree.
My dad lived in Boston. He scared the shit out of me. Because every time I went up there, we would go to MIT and Harvard. And first of all, I was like, I'm young. I'm like 12, 13. I'm like, this is a shitty ass. These some shitty ass dorms for me paying this much. Like, this is the elite. What the rest of the schools are. And he would be like, yeah, man, they go to middle school. Look at your GPA. And I'm like, yo, I'm never gonna make it. So I stopped trying in. Like that, I was like, if I'm not gonna make it at Harvard, he gonna be disappointed regardless.
Yeah, you remember that used to be a thing. You used to be scared to mess up as a kid because of how far back you would think that the government or any type of job or career or college.
That was the only time it was ever put in front of me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like my mom was just like just do whatever. I'm gonna be proud of y'all if y'all live. And my dad was like, no, Harvard is the place to go or MIT. And so I'm in middle school. I'm like, I'm not about to be perfect.
Yeah.
So instead of being perfect, I'm just gonna do whatever I
Do enough.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Mark. I don't think you was ever a student.
First of all, I had above a 4.0 probably 2 years ago.
But he went to a black high school, so it don't count. So you got to deduct.
You dropped out of a white high school. Like, what we talking about? You couldn't keep up.
I was like Stefan. I was like, man, this don't make no sense. Man.
The streets made sense.
But all right, so let me ask you this: so, at what point did you grow up a Christian kid? Because I know, like, with certain Caribbean, West Indian families, some of them are like Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them are Pentecostal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what made you how did you get introduced to Christianity? And at what point in your life did it hit for you to be like, you know, this is how I want to shape my life around Christian beliefs?
So the household was Catholic growing up. So
Okay.
we went to Catholic church. I even went to a Catholic private school, 1st through 5th grade or something like
Uniforms?
that. Uniforms and
Wow.
everything. Yeah. So wait, did we have uniform? I think so. Yeah. Anyways, so went through that, whatever. Once I got older, I actually went away from God, religion, or whatever. I was actually the dude who was like, you bring me a Bible, get that out of my face.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to hear it.
Oh,
Don't say
good.
nothing. I mean, I was like shooting it all down. I did not care. I just had a more reckless, I'm going to do what the hell I want, can't nobody tell me a damn thing attitude. And then, this is just too long of a story. It's too much to talk about in one episode. But
you going to come back?
we can make it happen.
Next time I'm dressing.
You're going to have a big ass beer on this.
Started going through a lot of spiritual occurrences that could not be explained through natural means. Let's put it like that. And it was on that journey, that's when it just got to a point, okay, I can't deny what this is anymore. And that's what brought, and even saying Christian now, like, I'm not going to lie, lately, I don't know if I want to identify as Christian. Just call me man of God. That's it. Because to me, these structures that people have created, it's problematic to me. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's just, no, my focus is God. And yes, I believe in Jesus and all that kind of stuff. So it is Christian-y, I guess you could say. But to me, yeah, it's more of a spiritual relationship thing. But yeah, that's what kind of pushed me in that lane, to be honest with you. It's just
funny.
going through things.
I don't identify as a Christian, but I do tell people, like, my life got a Christian undertone.
I think mine does too.
You coming a long way.
Yeah.
I told Miko a long time ago, you would be a good Christian if you wasn't you. Like Miko, because even though Miko is really getting in these.
You about to turn the podcast about me and Stefan gonna jump on the train.
No, for somebody who don't like rules, we talked about this.
Go ahead.
Somebody who don't like rules, you really starting to become.
I know it's crazy.
More structured now.
It's crazy, bro. I literally considered joining the church like 2 weeks ago. It's weird, bro. It's so weird.
Remember I told you once, I said, one day, you're going to cross that line.
Watch.
It's crazy because it's like the older you get and become more of a responsible man, and especially when you get stable and then really stable, you just think about what's really important in life. And one thing you realize is important is a man must have structure.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've just realized is that a lot of these religious entities, they have structure. And I was thinking about what kind of wife I want. It's funny because I even joined the Christian group. It's a singles Christian group. I was Lord,
Watch out, man. Watch out.
But I was really considering. I was like, man, if I find a woman and she has to be a Christian woman, I can be cool with that. I go to church like twice a month on Sundays, you know, because I already listen to, aside from listening to your content, I listen to Dr. Miles Monroe.
Oh, okay,
you know
he's real good.
Yeah, he's one of my go-tos just off rip. And I do here and there listen to some TD Jakes as well. So, and it's like I grew up Christian, so I like you said, the undertone. I have I just see the necessity of just, even if it's not Christian, I'm not a Christian per se, but a man of God. You know what I'm saying? A man of valor, a man of honor, respect, and most importantly, a part of and a man of organization, structure. So, but go ahead.
Let's move on from Miko since this ain't about him.
Nah, go ahead, man. We gonna spin the block on me eventually.
We
I already
going
know
here.
what time it is.
So you see this shift, just a great shift away from people identifying as Christian or whatnot. But oftentimes you see men just moving away from like religious things anyway. And we are under the Bible belt, but more often than not you see women in church. Well, what do you say to women who still want to who want that male leadership in a spiritual capacity, but don't see that represented within church environments?
Well, so I want to first I want to say this because I actually read this book called "Why Men Don't Go to Church."
Okay.
And
By the way, if it's a book that you read, it must be a really good book.
yeah, I haven't finished it all
You
yet.
don't like read anything beyond half a text page. And he'd be like, man, that's too long. Just tell me what it's about.
Yeah, but nah. So, and one of the things that it focuses on is that the church has basically gone away from masculinity.
Oh.
There's not enough masculine energy in the church, and not even in the sense of men being there. He's saying the men aren't there because everything is so feminized. Everything is really catered towards women coming back to the church. There's nothing that appeals to the men and how we're wired. So I think that the whole church issue of men being in church can be fixed if we create more of an environment that welcomes them in and makes and really, because I hate to say it, unfortunately, like there's just a lot of things the church, at least in the States, aren't doing properly, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And again, because they're so concerned about offending people being too sensitive for whatever reason. Like my homeboy says, you find it funny that the only sin you never hear the church talk about is gluttony.
Damn, that's a good point. But obesity is like one of the number one killers of
Exactly. And you can find it high numbers in the in black church.
Yeah.
But they'll never talk about that.
Damn, that's
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that, and let me not say none of them do, because maybe there's some out there that do.
Yeah.
But the majority of them, that's not something they're going to cover.
And those are the posts that don't go viral.
Exactly. And even deeper spiritual things, like I find it crazy that the church hasn't taught about fasting. Not Daniel fast. I'm talking about like 24-hour just water fast, 3 days just water. Stuff that is biblical now. It is biblical, and it's actually very beneficial. But they don't push that because that's too hard for people. So we're going to give you something easier to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let me digress from that. So going back to your original question of what do you tell the women, I think that women have to understand just because the man's not in church doesn't mean he's not walking with God. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men of God embrace a greater spiritual path, but church is not appealing to them. And so don't let what you're seeing or not seeing in the church confuse you. If you present yourself as the woman that you need to be, you'll attract the type of dude that you're looking for. But let me also say this. A lot of women in the church, they've gotten so used to leading themselves, they can be sometimes the hardest ones to be led.
Stefan, you about to lose by 4-5 followers on that one.
Well, and gain 4 or 5 men. Men are starting to be receptive to messages too that do hold both sides accountable.
Yeah.
One of my ideas about that too was it's two things that especially you can understand this in this type of space. Now we're getting to men are becoming more socially conscious about themselves. But previously it was two things men just kind of fought against. Just you don't want nobody telling you how to manage your money, and you don't want nobody telling you how to manage yourself.
Yeah.
and that to some extent, church was kind of in your pockets, without also having any accountability towards the community and how you, or anybody being accountable for the church and how the church manages its money.
Right.
But you was trying to tell me how to manage my relationships, manage my life, and all of this. And so now my wife, or my lady, is looking up to you for your guidance and not looking up to me for mine. And so it kind of hits you at 2 points. Not only do I have to listen to you, but my wife empowers you more than she empowers me to move in a certain direction.
That's what Dr. Miles Monroe said in one sermon. He said that this one woman came up to him and was like, "Oh, my husband's not coming to the Wednesday service to church. We're having all these fights at home. Things aren't right, X, Y, Z." And Dr. Miles Monroe looked at her and said, "Then why are you here at church instead of home with your man?" He's like, the church is supposed to come after your family.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to take care of your man first. It's God, then it's you and your man, and then it's your kids in the church. It's not, you don't ever put church above your man. It's like you said about how church a lot of times feels like it's not a masculine place to be. You know, it's not a masculine friendly. It's very woman friendly, and I do agree with that. That's one of the reasons why, you know, on top of many, but that's one of the reasons why I stopped going to church. You know, it was even hard for me to find a good church. That's why I consider going to Episcopalian.
You're just saying it wrong, but I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Episcopal, I forgot the term.
Pentecostal?
Pentecostal. Okay. That's one of the reasons I was going to go to a Pentecostal church 2 weeks ago. I was looking one to find because they have the more masculine structure that I like. You know what I'm saying? That fits to a tone of how I want to walk in my life.
And that's why there was a time where the Muslim faith was gaining so much traction within the black community and there's communities over here in general, because that speaks to a more masculine structure than you know the Christian church does over here. Yeah. So again, I think if they just learn how to create a better balance, it would make things a whole lot better.
I agree with that.
You spoke to it a little bit when we started talking about.
I just want to let the Christian women know I am single out here.
If you don't go to a singles ministry,
and open-minded.
It's like a 30-1 odds.
Just try to change me immediately.
It's you and then that guy that play the keys.
He always single. Ain't the dude that play the keys?
I don't trust none of them musicians at the church.
Boy.
If they, all right, moving backwards. So you start talking about leadership and things like that as it pertains to it, and also independence. So one question is, I think people believe that at some point in time in our history, all men were leaders. Mm-hmm. And so now everybody wants I think it was Hill Harper who said 90% of women want 10% of men, and 90% of men want 10% of women. Mm-hmm. I think it feels like everybody wants this leader, and that leader has to look a certain way. I usually identify somebody like 50 Cent. People love this corporate thug image, somebody that can handle you, but that makes a lot of money, is in this business space. And I try to tell people, everybody, I don't care what generation you go to, there was no influx where all of these men were leaders. Mm-hmm. These men sometimes look towards other men, but they would go home and give their money to these women because they would do right by the household at times. So do you think that people need to start making more concessions and be more realistic, which is also one of the questions?
Yeah, I was about to say, I got my GED, so you got to slow down.
Do you think we have realistic expectations, both men and women, of like our counterparts?
I think there are a lot of unrealistic expectations, but I also think a lot of people are selling themselves short and not living to their true potential. So my thing is, all right, okay, here's a perfect example. So, the whole talk about alpha man, all right? And and if you look at the definition of alpha man, everyone can't be an alpha because the alpha is the pack leader. Right. Mm-hmm. So, all right, so you're not just going to have 10 alpha men in the group. It might be 10 men who are capable of being alpha, but there's that one who is the true alpha of the group, right?
They ain't never watched Spartacus.
So the idea of every man being alpha is like unrealistic, but in my vision, every man can be masculine though. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's like, okay, yes, every man's not wired to be a boss. Every man's not wired to lead corporations or a group of men. But I do think every man, if he taps into his true potential, can lead a household. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's that would be a fair requirement of the man. But if you're looking for him to have that extra, so I had a video where I was telling women like, never marry a complacent man, and not in the sense that there's anything wrong with a man being complacent. In the sense of if you're marrying him hoping he'll be more than what he is, and he's content where he is, it's a setup for failure. Right. You're going to be trying to drag him past a line that he never cared to go past. You see what I'm saying? So you either got to be happy with whatever his vision of success is or move on to the next. So do I think that some women do need to recalibrate the perception? Because, like, I know I'm kind of jumping around right now, but for example,
this is what we do.
I hate when I hear people say $100,000 ain't that much money.
But talk about it, bud. Please.
And they minimize six figures now as it's some easy common thing when it's only 10% max of the population.
I don't know what you talking about. Because these women date only men that make that amount. And apparently, they only date the faithful men that make that amount. Right. So every 90% of these women getting that 10%.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, yo, so to how we tie this all in, it's like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying I expect the man to be financially stable.
Yeah.
But then to say he needs to make six figures or more, this is when we're starting to get into unrealistic expectations. Especially, and I don't want this to sound bad, you do have to be honest with yourself about, as a man or woman, about what you qualify for.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some of y'all don't qualify for that. That 10%, man, that's not in your ballpark right now. Now, my thing is this. I'm never going to tell somebody to settle.
Right.
If you are hell-bent on getting that $100,000 man, then you need to step up to the plate and do what you got to do as a woman to be of that quality. Same way, if you're that man that wants that 10% woman, you got to step it up.
Facts.
And if you're not willing to step it up, then just be okay with what you can get.
So you saying that all these men that was disappointed in Rihanna getting pregnant,
and what you're essentially speaking to is that if you want the best of the best, you're gonna have to compete.
That's it. It's just
as a man or a woman.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to compete. There's nothing that you don't deserve. You only deserve what you earn.
And you know what? I wouldn't even use the word compete because I'm a type of person that says, you know, when you're walking in God's purpose, your lane is yours. What's for somebody else is somebody else.
Other people, but I'm saying
I know,
compete.
but I'm saying like, because I think when people hear the word compete, they're thinking about this battle with other people, and I gotta outdo this person.
Right.
You just have to get to your standard of quality, because I do believe that people don't understand how sometimes the quality you're looking for is right around the corner if you just put yourself in the right position. You see what I'm saying? So I think don't even worry about, well, I gotta be better than this one, be better. No. Just be your best and be the best that is going to be able to attract that kind of an individual and that they're going to be happy with. If you do that, then you're good to go. Because I think at some point, someone's going to be with you.
I agree.
Let's balance this out a little bit. Cause we're gonna hit the.
It's been pretty balanced.
We're gonna hit the. It's gonna go back and forth because I got some shit. But oftentimes, you know, when we get into the manosphere, you hear women complaining and stuff about it being one-sided. So we're gonna touch on both sides.
Well, you really hear mostly you hear that complaint coming from men being tired of a lot of and I say this, I joke all the time. You my best friend and you really a brother to me for real. But like I say, with the exception of you and Duval.
Duval?
No, Duval.
Duval Ellis.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I thought he was cool with Lil Duval too.
No, but the exception to y'all, I get tired and sick and tired of women only sharing content of soft-spoken men giving relationship insights on men to women, and these are muscular, beard-having, soft-spoken men. And these women be like, yeah. I'm like, you don't think ugly men give great advice too?
You know what's funny? It's funny because years ago, I had a video that went viral, and I went through the comments, and one nigga was like, why is it always the good-looking dudes trying to give relationship advice? And I'm like, so you don't think ugly niggas are giving relationship advice too?
Relationship advice all the time.
What do you mean?
I be like, y'all chicks be sharing these fantasy niggas that, and then on top of that, I always caveat with these are the dudes that other men don't follow. If men, I say that's always key. Look at who the men are following, because that's usually going to allude to if there's a sense of truth in what that man is saying about men, or if there's just a lot of sale.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's all kinds. People, I don't think people understand the amount of individuals out there trying to be in the relationship coaching space or giving advice, but they all don't pop off.
How does it feel to have beat them all? I always want to ask you that, cause dude, you don't listen. I'm giving you your motherfucking roses today, bro. You deserve, man, cause you put in a lot of work, and you consistently excelled and succeeded in this field of also helping people get through their real relationship problems. You're not just one of these coaches out here who just post good stuff that people like to hear. No, like I always tell you, your goal really is in your speaking. That's why I was glad as hell to see you started doing your YouTube videos, so both the men and the women can hear what you have to say. You know, because people, like I tell Mark, and I've even told you, like, I would watch your quotes back in the past, and I'm like, okay, a pander. You know but when I see you speak, I was like, that's where it is right there. Men need to hear that, because when men hear Stefan say that, they gonna know that they listening to a real ass alpha male. You know what I'm saying? And it showed when you started sharing content and speaking towards men and helping men. Like men, I see them in your post comments and everything. I'm like, that's where it is. You know, so it's like, how does it feel to be? Many have come, many have gone. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I just look at it as proof that when you just focus on your purpose and doing what God tells you to do, everything. You know, I'll say this. This is why, like I tell other people who get in whatever space they're in, you got to understand that the vast majority of people who get in your field are gimmicks. All right? And gimmicks can never last.
I love that.
People can't sustain it simply because what's required of you to keep doing this over and over, if you don't love, if it's not in you, if there's not some kind of deeper connection, you just can't. Or for a lot of people who are gimmicks, if they can't pop after a couple years, they're quitting. Yeah, nobody wants to stay broke for 3-4 years. I had to stay broke for 3-4 years before things popped off. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get through all those obstacles when this is just a way for you to make money. That's why, like, think about the person. Hell, and technically I was kind of that person too at one time. When you're trying to find these different hustles to make money. And so when the hustle don't pop off quick, you're on to the next hustle. You keep moving to the next one, next one.
You got a business book and you've been talking about relationships for the last 3 years.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're just looking for that money. But to me, it's about purpose. So that's a testament to us following God. Like, just, all right, stick with it. But yeah, I've seen a lot come, a lot leave. I've seen people get, hell, you know, even today, I still feel like as large as my platform is, I feel like I fly under the radar.
You do.
You see what I'm saying?
You do.
You think so?
Nah, you know me. I was doing my research.
Yeah, of course.
And we talked about it. Like,
it's so excited about it.
It's things that they just don't find about him, right? Like when you just type in his name, it's questions that people ask, and it's like, who he with, what he do, and it's first thing on one of them is like, he's a fairly private person, and yada yada yada, and it's just interesting that in a world where everybody's seeking attention because they think it's gonna bolster their image, he's doing the opposite, where it's like, and I think, who was that? I think Don Cheadle said it and Denzel said it. It's power in the mystique. And so just the notion that you got somebody like this guy, and people want to know all the information. I always told him, like, I was like, damn, why you ain't been on why you don't get on Breakfast Club? I used to tell him all the time. He'd be like, I'm not ready yet. And it took years for that to click. Like, for it to click for me, because it's like, Stefan understands, you ain't only got some grays in your beard, but you wise as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always
let the grays out today.
Right. I say that to say respectfully, because you've always been very wise for a very long time. Ever since I know you, just very wise. And you say something and it don't click, but years later, I'm like, it clicked. Because, like, even you would say something, like, about the Breakfast Club, whatever, it's like, oh, he wants to have things in order and be prepared for criticism and backlash that may come with being on certain platforms. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, he know what he's doing. I need to shut the hell up. You know.
So Miko and I, we talked about this on a few episodes, and so one of the things is Miko done crossed over the threshold financially, starting to make the traction that he want financially. Well, actually, we both got different philosophies. Like, Miko is very much okay with being the provider.
Stefan know I spend that bread on chick.
Right. Being the provider, and like he's okay with a non-working wife.
Yeah.
I'm actually not, unless there's caveats. Like, we have a kid, it's gonna be for a few years. But long term, I'm pro 2-parent working household or two adult.
I think it'd be nice though. I do want to say that. Like, I think it'd be nice to have a chick that got her own ambitions or whatever. I always say that to say she don't have to stress about, if I don't go to work, I'm not gonna be able to pay the bills. Like, I want her to always know she got that luxury. If she need to take a break from working for a while, it's nothing. Nothing in our lifestyle changes at all.
How soon do you let her know that? I was trying to stick to the question of yours.
He's saying it because he think that we'll get about me later. But
it wasn't about you. I had a question.
It's gonna happen. It happens all the time.
I was being strategic and saying what we talked about. Go ahead, bro.
But I was just saying to say that all that to say that, and that I do let a woman know that initially when we're dating is like, this is the type of lifestyle I plan to have as a married man. Look, I don't want you to work while you're pregnant, and then after the kid, and then while the kids are young, but after the kids get to like 6 or school age, I do want you to go out in the world and be doing something. Like, you ain't just about to sit up in a house, not doing a damn thing, and that just pile up. I want you to, like, if you're involved in a nonprofit, if you do volunteer work or whatever your passions are, I want to help you pursue that, and I want you to pursue that because I want the kids to look up and see both parents who have achieved great things. And at the end of the day, you can go periods of time not having to work. So if your passions don't make no money, you good. Stefan's different. We're gonna talk about his shit later.
No, yeah, y'all.
He definitely is more extreme on that level than I.
Well, yeah, but once you get it for a while,
yeah,
you definitely gonna shoot to the moon with it. But I got a different experience being divorced and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, and just my philosophy about how far the black community is. I think my philosophy is more so, if you're going to engage in something that's taking you away from the house, do it at a higher level. So when you have people that, like, I not to belittle anybody, but it was a young lady who was like, yeah, I want to do an admin assistant. I'm like, all right, cool. What's your ultimate goal? And she was like, I want to be an executive assistant. And I was like, stop, bro.
Why you laughing?
She said,
"Cause that is some low ambitious shit." But she got highest expectations of you.
But she's going to grad school for it, and
right, like that shit goofy. That's just bad planning, bro. Why did you go to admin? It says, I want to be.
But
an executive
I do career coaching. I help people with their resumes and how they. So I'm sitting here trying to help her get a greater understanding of. She said, I just like to be told what to do, and I said, you can be told what to do while making 6 figures, while making $70,000, $80,000. Especially if your biggest complaint is I'm struggling. Mm-hmm. So it's 2 questions. One of the questions is for individuals like Miko and I who, and past us who are at a financial place where they can take on more. They can take on more. Cause I was listening to a video and he was talking about one of the things that make you a high value man that you consider. He was talking about financial stability. But what advice do you have for men who are at that place where financially we're secure? We both go through our therapeutic processes, making sure that we in a place of stability or whatnot. I'm very big on positioning too. What do you say to people who just want to attract that counterpart, that type of counterpart, even though we do have different types of counterparts?
So you're saying attract the type of counterpart that you specifically want, and him attract the counterpart that he specifically wants?
What would you say to people in our position who are ready, but we feel like the market right now is inundated with independent women who you kind of have to have a power struggle for your position, or people on the opposite end who see what you got, they love it, and they just want to attach themselves to it.
Okay.
So I think that, one, again, this is why I'm always about connection. You got to find the woman you got a connection with. You know what I'm saying? And not concern yourself too much about, is she working, is she not working, is she this, is she that. To me, once you're in a position that you can have that flexibility, it makes it a lot easier for you. Because the reality is that a lot of dudes are picking their partners based on where they are in life.
Right.
And so a lot of dudes, because they're not doing well, they put more emphasis on the woman's finances because they need that assistance. They need her to carry that weight or they're not going to be able to survive. Once you can survive on your own and cover it all, you now have the luxury to just pick based off who makes a great partner. And I'm talking about first foundationally, how she gets along with you, how she talks to you, how she encourages you, how attracted you are to her, and her willingness to maintain that attraction for you. You know what I'm saying? The things that's gonna really make you happy at the core. And then from there, you can evaluate, okay, does she happen to have a job and you want her to keep working? All right, cool. If she don't, you know.
I work at Waffle House part-time, but I do nails.
Chill out. One of my young crushes was a Waffle House.
And listen, and ain't nothing wrong with it. Like, to me, if that's,
she fine.
my thing is this, I think men got to realize, I've always said men are horrible selectors of wives. Because, you know what I'm saying, they overuse logic. And we have to understand, logic is limited knowledge and understanding based on what you've been taught. So what is logical to one is not logical to the other. All right? If you've been taught that the sky is blue, then that is the logical answer. But if I've been taught that this is an infrared lighting that is giving us a different color, then you're not making any logical sense anymore. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to change based off of what we've been taught. So with that said, men continue to look at things from evaluating the resume. Okay, she got this, she got this, she got this, she got that. But how does she really make you feel? How does she interact with you? Go deeper than just how the resume looks, because the resume has fooled men. The resume has fooled them in the sense of she looks really good, so he becomes blind in that way. Or because, I know a dude right now, the only reason that man has not walked away because her money is nice and her connections are nice. And he's afraid to let that go. You see what I'm saying? So he's going to find himself stuck, but you're never going to be happy in this situation, not in the long run. So I think you just got to go deeper when you're trying to look for the counterpart that aligns with you, but also you got to understand why you are choosing that kind of woman, because even using D'Amico, once upon a time, D'Amico was on generational wealth. She got to have resources. He used to get on me. Man, you need to stop that any type of women. They need to have this and this and this. I'm like, Miko, I said, bruh, when you get your money up, watch what changes. You're not going to want that same person no more. You're telling me this because of where you're at right now. And look what happened.
Yeah,
Miko did not have that same philosophy before.
I do tell people stop making broke nigga decisions. So that financial part is
yeah. And men, we say it all the time, but especially when talking to black men, is like financial stability is first and foremost important before trying to commit to any type of woman. Because the woman that you choose, like you used to tell me a long time ago, the woman that you choose now where you at, especially if you're an ambitious man, the woman that you choose now where you at, when you reach that level of success that you've been working towards, is likely isn't going to be the same woman that you're going to choose when you're at that level. And and this is why when I see a lot of couples that have these struggle stories, you know, it becomes interesting, because you start to question, be like, is he really into her, or is he like, how long is this now going to last? You know, because it's like he's now at this level where he always dreamed to himself, and doesn't mean that he's not going to go higher, but he's at this level where he feels really esteemed about himself. And he's probably feeling like this woman doesn't match what he currently is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell a lot of black guys, like, it's important, black men, you gotta respect your religion, to always make a decision to commit to it, because when you broke and you're struggling, you're mentally, you're in survival state. So you're trying to choose the best woman you can convince that you're at the level with now. But when you elevate, that's not gonna be the same chick.
One of the things I had to say, so me and Miko had a long conversation about this one night, and Miko is on the side of, I'm on the side of, we're in a social space now. Like most people's needs are you can have your basic needs met, food, shelter, whatever, be it because you work for it or because there's some government assistance that keep you from being at the complete bottom. So you don't have to worry about that. So now we at a position of how much happiness matters within your relationships. And so my philosophy is that's why a lot of us aren't working out right now, is because we ain't really secured that within ourselves. So it's this constant strive for it. Miko is, so I'm like, where does...
Oh yeah, he cares about personal happiness. I'm like your mom, you know, the Caribbean, West Indian. I believe in you got to do what's best at the end of the day for the community. So in the sense where it's like, I believe first off, foremost, even with my mentees that I deal with now, I always tell them eventually when you find a wife. That's always the bar.
That's the biggest reason why he don't date white women.
Hilarious. But I always tell him, I say marriage. Marriage is priority. I care about marriage. Marriage gives our community a lot of structure. Backbone gives a man purpose and structure and backbone. And what adds to it. And he think it's more so personal happiness. So
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what you said sound absent of if you happy at all.
Yeah, I don't like because it's kind of old school in a way.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's like
miserable
if
heart
you committed.
strokes,
Yeah, if you committed to this
heart
woman,
attack.
you decided you just gonna marry this chick or whatever. Listen, bro, if it ain't violent, if it ain't abusive.
Nah, I can't get with that.
I listen.
I always tell
I'm
Miko, I don't care if it's parenting.
But this is
I don't
why-
care if it's
but hold on.
relationships.
But Stefan,
I always want to hear,
But Stefan,
see when it manifests.
But Stefan, I always tell him this. This is why it's important for you to make the right decision the first time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, listen, the goal is to stick it out and to make it work.
Yeah.
But
He's like, I'm not happy where.
Listen.
Sometimes we're not happy with ourselves.
well, granted, so you gotta identify what the real issue is. Is the issue the woman or is the issue you? Is the issue you or the issue the environment?
Yeah.
If there's things that can be fixed, fix
Yeah.
it. But I don't think anyone should be held hostage to a situation where they made a bad choice.
And
You know what I'm saying?
And that's where, because we had, and I know he told you about the conversation where when I was married, and I feel like I attached myself to a woman when I should have found a better therapist sooner. And so it was a bad choice. She's not a bad person. What we would have needed to be together long term just didn't align.
Yeah, not the right fit.
And so as I started going through my therapeutic process, as I started learning more about me, and it was like every part of my life was happy and in a good place and on an upward trajectory. And we was in therapy we was married for less than 2 years. We was in therapy about 85% of that time. It just wasn't a good choice for me.
Yeah.
And Miko's advice was, stay, stick it out. And it wasn't even
first
like,
off, I apologize to Mark like
No,
twice.
but
I don't
I'm
know how
saying-
many times you want me to apologize.
it
to
wasn't
him.
even like, I think the other part that was confusing was we wasn't in front of other people tearing each other down for
No,
the
we
most
never did
part.
that.
We wasn't bashing each other. And when Miko was around, everything, like we still was decent people.
Yeah.
So Miko like, it don't seem that bad. It ain't
Because
I'm like, bruh.
listen, Stefan, it was me ignoring his emotional needs and thinking more of what's best for him.
And look at it like this, because your focus is community.
Yeah.
Happy people create happy communities.
True.
Miserable people create miserable communities. What we have to understand is that, so once upon a time, like you said, old school thought process was you stick it out, you marry them, you don't go nowhere. Those households developed damaged as children.
True.
Those households created a lot of sexual abuse.
True.
Those households created a lot of drug abuse because all they did was suppress how they feel. All they did was suck it up, deal with it, be mad, take their anger out on different things, die early of illness because it's creating all kinds of internal stress.
You're not lying, bro.
So it's like,
You're not lying.
to me, like even when from a Christian or godly perspective, when people say you're not supposed to get divorced, I'm like, you think you're doing God a favor by staying in a marriage that you're going to act a fool in anyway? How are you serving him? How are you glorifying him? How are you showing that this is the right way? You're only making people want to get married less. Think about all the people who say they don't want to get married. Most of them never seen a good marriage. Had they
true.
just seen some
That's
positive
true.
ones, it would change everything.
That's
So to me, like I can. Don't get me wrong. Of course, we want to exhaust all our options. We want to see if we can get this to work. But I'm a firm believer that some people just don't fit, and there's not a damn thing you can do to make it work.
I can make that adjustment. I can adjust to that way.
Let's pivot back to Miko. I like this question. it just came to me. So it is times where, and we are both a part of different travel groups, and so because we travel internationally, we get different experiences with different cultures of women, and they interact with us differently. No matter what I've seen is the constant is financially stable men tend to have a better pick,
Yeah. Oh, of course.
and women tend to engage with them different.
But that's in any country, right?
Yeah.
However, there's a very big difference because we both seek a high level of femininity. We want to be catered to and things like that. Here it seems like we have to shuffle through so many people, so many women to even get the basis of the level of companionship we want. Make a case for Miko not to go grab him a international.
Mark get mad when I say, look, I got till I'm 34, which is gonna be.
I hate the deadlines.
34 to Stefan hates when I do deadlines too. But I said I got till 34, and listen, if I don't find an American black wife, then I'm taking my black ass overseas
to Poland
and just to find another black woman, except Poland, in either South America, Africa. And see what I can find. Shoot, West Indian women too. I love me. Y'all know I love me.
So listen, here's my case against this. All right, which at the end of the day, if anybody wants to go wherever and find a wife, that's up to them. But I will say that yes, I think that the expectations here are different than the expectations overseas, even when you have money as a man. All right, especially depending on the type of woman that you're going after. But I can say that there's a lot of them out there. I think the difference is here you may have to cross more T's and dot a couple more I's as far as how you're presenting yourself to these women, all right? If you take care of the things that appeal to them, like I'll say this, I have no problem meeting beautiful, feminine women. And even women who will tell me when they date other dudes, they talk crazy, and they would never talk like that to me. You know what I'm saying? They give me a level of respect that they don't give to other dudes, and so. But that's also because I don't give them no reason to talk to me crazy. Right. But again, when you exude masculine energy, you're gonna gain more femininity from that woman. Now, it isn't to say that it's all on us as men, because I do think that if a woman's not healed, she can't sustain feminine energy.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, it's gonna pop off, and so that's where it can get a little tricky.
Y'all seen my answer. You know what I'm saying?
But listen, I haven't seen all of them,
True.
And I'm not pinpointing nobody in particular.
But some
of the ones that I think of in my mind, I can look at them and knew this wasn't no feminine thing here. This was,
I've made mistakes. I've made some mistakes.
So I think, and again, I think part of it was, listen, a lot of those women came at a time where you were not as confident within yourself due to your financial standing. Now you may have better eyes. And now you,
I think I do actually.
Exactly. You'll pick up on things. Plus, I think for men, part of the problem is if you're a damaged dude, you're not going to be able to sift through a damaged woman. All right. But when you're healthy and you've healed, you can see that a mile away. Like even the dudes who go on tour with me, they can tell you after one tour run with me, they was like, yo, they see things they never saw before. As far as they can see a woman, they can see the damage. They can see the issues. They can pick up on the energy like they couldn't before. So it's a lot of it is a lot of men lack wisdom to be able to see things clearly, which would allow you to. So basically, by you becoming more aware, more healthy, more confident, you won't sift through as many women because you'll be able to see from a mile away. You know what? This ain't gonna work.
Yeah, and you know that also when a dude likes a chick, you can be sometimes love drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I can usually see through a damaged chick, and that's why I will filter so many away. But sometimes you just come across some ones, and it's just.
And so this is why to me I think the big difference is spiritual awareness and connection. Because listen, if I did not have that, then there's a lot of women that I've met that I could have easily just fell for and just said, let me just try to make this work.
You talked to me about that a lot, and I didn't get that until recently, especially after my old situation. Connection, how important that is, and how I always overlook, because I always would say, look, would run down this chick's resume when I'm reporting to y'all about a chick, and as if those things were the things that but you kept saying, no, it's got to be about the connection. How does she make you feel? And I never thought about that.
It's funny because you're a salesman.
Look,
a quick little story, because this is about you since we're doing it. Is. Miko, man, amazing. Just she this, she that, she dope. We like the same music. Then we had a game night one night. Me and Miko, his lady, my lady, we had a game night.
It was crazy.
And it was crazy.
It's the same lady you met.
Right.
Okay.
And so it was a debacle. We were sitting there, not know like. What
But I was mad at Mark because Mark at the time didn't. I show y'all certain chicks because I want y'all. I know y'all gonna keep it honest with me, and y'all not gonna fall for the sale.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is, you a smart guy.
Yeah.
So sometimes,
but I get love struck too.
No, here's the thing. Number one, the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I told you. I said, bro, I don't know if this is gonna be able to work.
You did.
I have a hard time believing she's gonna come around the corner and be able to get through these issues.
Yes, you did.
And you was like, nah, boom, boom, boom. All right.
but when you hear somebody say, it's we're not talking about hidden things. Like, I don't know, she might be out there money. We're not talking about that. We're talking about him explicitly saying it's this. And
Exactly.
It's like, all right.
But here's what I've learned. I've had dudes DM me, say, yeah, man, this girl, she disrespects me. She does this, she does that. But man, I love her. I want her back. I'm like, whoa. So now you the same dude that when you get marry this woman, and then she leave you, or you end up having to divorce her, you're gonna be sweating off all women when she showed you sign. Like,
facts. That's a fact.
the
You're not
majority
even lying,
of
bro.
people
That's
are
sad. That's true.
not seeing something.
Yeah.
They're just ignoring it.
Yeah.
They're rationalizing past it, and then they want to act like they were blindsided. No, you
Right,
weren't.
bro. When I tell you ain't lying.
I think Miko be looking for what I wanted too, where like before I got married, or after I got divorced actually, that's when I hear, damn, I don't know why you married her anyway. I was like, dang, like somebody said, I thought you was in crisis when you married her. And I was like, you want to share none of that with me? So I didn't think it was my place. I said that as my friend, I empower you. Cause I'm gonna hold my position because I'm just arrogant like that sometimes. But I go back and think about it. I go back and sit on the words that my friends say. And if I never hear those words, I'm gonna run straight towards whatever my conviction is. And I get it. Cause I don't ever want to be so combative that I don't.
Yeah, but
be a
y'all
friend.
y'all know I never push y'all away. Even when y'all say something that pisses me off or do something that pisses me off. I think I'm the most probably tolerant friend that y'all got.
You'll listen. It's just do
He
you?
said you'll listen.
You may not take action right now. Like my thought process is, I'm gonna tell you what I think,
Facts.
but I know you got to go through your own little process of how you gonna come to your conclusion. Yeah, so it's like
I would have been okay with all of it except the timeline.
Well, let me ask you this, because that brings us me to a good thought. Do you think, especially as black men, do you think we hold each other more accountable than we are given credit for? Because I see a lot of the women, they think that we just let each other or encourage each other to be reckless out here. But I see another side to where, yeah, there are some of us who encourage recklessness, but most times out of 10, especially if it comes to matters of the heart or matters of a good person that man might be dealing with, whatever, we usually try to get them to stir right to abide by them the right way, while at the same time knowing that we can be knuckleheads.
It's tough to say because I do think there's a large segment of the men who don't hold each other accountable. Like they could be friends with a dude that got 3 girls pregnant, and they're not telling this dude like, yo, chill out for real. Like they might make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Like, damn, bro, what's wrong? You don't know how to wear a condom? You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. But they're not actually sitting them down like they're not sitting them down like, yo, bro, this needs to stop. You know, what are you doing? What's the problem? So I think there are segments of men who are holding each other accountable, but it's tough. That one's tough to really evaluate it and say if it's really most of us or not. I'm not sure.
What do you think? What do you think is men's, in particular, black men? I know we speak to all men, and you definitely speak to all men, but we black and we care a large portion about black men. Black women also, absolutely. But me and Mark talked about this earlier today. I feel like that we are in a media age where the manosphere came about firstly through white men, but it spread through black men and it's become like this kind of interesting ecosystem that's evolving from a bitter outlash against women to now it's trying to become somewhat civilized. But do you think that? But like me and Mark talked about earlier, I feel that there's the media, the general media, the Breakfast Club, other large platforms. They kind of are overly critical of black men and don't shed light on the diversity of black men out there.
So I mean, the unfortunate reality is that negativity sells. All right, which is why part of what people have to understand, even with the manosphere, is that the whole bitterness angle, for a lot of them, is because that's what gets clicks. If they try to give like I was telling a YouTuber the other day, I was like, listen, the balanced approach ain't gonna make you go viral. Not to say they don't do it, because to me, that's my approach. Right. That's why I feel like I'm just slow and steady, just go up, go up, go up. But to have some of the meteoric rises that some people have had and going crazy viral, you have to be extreme. You have to be polarizing. You know what I'm saying? That's what the internet rewards. So with that, when we talk about some of the mainstream media outlets, I don't feel like we can ever count on them to be the beacons of light and positivity, because they're a business. They're only a business. And hell, even individual influencers, their mind is, how am I going to get this money? You know what I'm saying? So I just think that there's a lot of people who may come into, like I look at it like even politicians. There are people who went into politics with a good heart and a genuine desire to help their community. But by the time it's done, they are as corrupt as anyone else in there, if not worse. Because it's very hard for the average human being to start to see money coming in, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Instagram, whether it be the media, whatever, and not start to let that sway them in what they, hell, some of these people on TV don't even believe the words they saying themselves. They're just playing a character because that's what works.
Yeah, that reminds me of what academics and Vlad was talking about when they were talking about how they have recreated how media goes. Yeah. Because you can't lean on, they not only are they the competition, but you can't lean on these media entities to start pushing a voice of
positivity.
Yeah. Because it's just not, and they're the direct competition. They have a better finger on the pulse of what's actually going on. So it's interesting. With what happens right now, and Migo and I have both gone through it, like this dating fatigue. And so you touched on it earlier about just basically having more discernment. And I'm a very big proponent of like.
Where do we find out Ruth? If you already told them where to find Bubba, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's.
I don't even care if Ruth got a BBL at this point. Like,
you want her to have one. Migo gotta stop flexing. Just say you want a chick with a BBL. Okay, I'll pivot a little bit actually. I often hear people say like they taking a break, they working on them, which I always applaud. But I also think dating is a muscle that you have to flex. I think too that you get people who work in isolation. So I don't think black men and women have enough conversations platonically, just as humans. And so oftentimes what happens is the first time you engage with a woman is for companionship, and then if it don't work in the companionship aspect, you render her useless, and then vice versa. Because I've definitely had conversations where people say they don't need any more friends. They don't think men and women can be friends. So I guess the first question is it even important for you and your companion to be friends, and for you to have friends of the opposite sex?
All right. I'm going to add a third part to that, and I'm going to answer the two questions. So I recently did some research, and research shows that just a 5-minute conversation with an attractive woman raises a man's testosterone by 14%.
That is interesting.
And that to me, like, I even, the only reason I even looked at it is because I was recently around a woman, and like the next day I felt so great. We didn't have sex, not like that, but I felt like just alive the next day. And I'm like, why do I? And I've seen this happen multiple times for me.
Because she gave you a massage.
No. just in the company of, and again, the women that I hang out with are very feminine women. So in the company of that real good feminine energy, and I would just notice like it would give me a boost. You know what I'm saying? And so I've come to this conclusion that I think it's healthy for men need to get out. All right. I think society in general needs to get out. All this being at the house, everything digital, all this stuff, it's messing people up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we going to Johnny's Hideaway?
Yeah. and I think go out not with the mindset of I have to find a woman to take home or I have to find a woman to date. Just go talk to good-looking women. Just go enjoy the environment. Just enjoy the experience. Hell, maybe getting more comfortable. For those guys who aren't comfortable, don't go in with the mindset of I lost if I don't get her number. No, just have a conversation and just enjoy it. And then you might be surprised what that turns into for some dudes. You know what I'm saying? So I think it is important for men to get out, be around women. Now, as far as you and your partner being friends, yes. I think that's extremely important.
I agree with that.
I think there has to be a foundation of friendship because to me, that's what really allows you to like each other, like really like each other. Without that friendship piece, it's more so you do this for me, I do this for you, and as long as we're doing those things, we can tolerate each other. But we don't really like each other at the core.
Yeah.
So to me, friendship is important. Now, having friends outside the relationship, I still say, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Whenever I meet a woman who does not have friends, that bothers me.
Facts.
And I tell women not to date guys who don't have friends.
You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this, I won't write her off, but I'm going to encourage her like, hey, go meet some girls. Go make some friends, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the type of person, not only have friends, hell, I want you to go on your trips with you. We can be married. Go on your trips with your girls. Do your thing. Like, I think it's great to have a life outside of each other that we can still share with each other. So it doesn't mean keep it secret from me and I'm going to keep it secret from you. But I think having those extra friends is a good thing. It creates a more well-rounded experience and a greater community. And especially when there's no friends, then it's like this overburden on each other. You know what I'm saying?
All she focus and
Exactly.
think about and talk to and worry about.
I had a client tell me the minute her man would leave the house, she would get anxiety. She's calling, blowing up her phone. She did not know how to exist without this man entertaining her.
I understand.
And wore him down.
You and Matthew Hussey are my two favorite relationship people, and not just because y'all give advice, y'all give practical things, ways to go about it. And so, I guess one question is, should women shoot their shot, and how should they shoot their shot?
One, hell yes, women should shoot their shot.
I told y'all Christian women.
I think so. I think, again, I don't think a woman needs to ask a man for his number. You know what I'm saying? Or ask a man on a date. I think just present some kind of interest. Create a conversation. If it's in the DM, just slide in the DM, say a little hello. Yeah. We don't need much. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
But we got to do a lot. I just had a woman be like, yo, you got to be more creative than saying hello. I'm like,
exactly. That's the thing. They want all that. You got to come with a better line, be more mindful. Like you said, just send some eyes and any emoji in our DM.
Hey, facts.
All right.
But except for the one that crosses us out. You know,
yeah, exactly, right? You know, it's going to get our attention. So to me, I think it's good for women to present that's the way I look at it. Present your interest. You know what I'm saying? And make it easy for that man to now talk to you if you have interest in him.
Yeah, it's funny. I think about thirst culture and stuff like that. I was reading a book.
Thirst culture.
Yeah, people don't want to be thirsty. I like relationship talk, baby. So, there used to be this concept basically called dropping a handkerchief. So women do so much to stay away from, and the concept is basically.
Oh, I've seen that before. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so women would garner the interest of men by even just doing something that either makes them seem to gain that man focus, to make them seem needed or whatnot.
Gotcha.
And I see that we try to push so far because you don't want to be a pick-me, you don't want to seem thirsty. But I think the absence of thought is men want to feel desired.
Exactly.
And so
that's so real, bro.
It's okay. Like you should have a man who want this.
Yeah,
who
these
got
women
this
are
whatever.
thugs these days, bro. It's like they afraid to
and let me
show you some
It's
affection.
thugs.
but let me say this too, because this is the other thing that dawned on me. This also gets worse depending on the type of woman you're going after. So to be more specific, the problem is, or what's added to the problem, is that some of these women get so much attention as it is. They don't have to show interest. It's always coming at them. So when they actually come across a guy that they're actually interested in, they don't know how to function in that realm. To them, it's he should be coming to me. And when you don't show the same type of effort these other thirsty dudes may be showing, she may look at you like you're not really serious. You're not really interested, and pass on it, not because she didn't find you interesting as well, but because it was outside of what she's accustomed to. So it's this weird dynamic that has occurred, but I definitely think we need to eliminate that as much as possible.
I agree, man. I like. Now I'm a little bit more advanced because I do like a woman to have some type of game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't enough for her just to throw me some eyeballs or wink, unless she.
I'm about to say exactly. There you go. There you go. I'm about to say, come on, bro.
If she cold, you know what I'm saying. But otherwise, I might need a little bit more convincing.
But it don't take much though. Like men, it don't really take much for ordinary men to feel flattered.
Nah, that's
true.
And
I tell women too.
I actually like being flattered. I like simple stuff like, well, you look handsome. You know that purple.
Instead of you got some hoes.
You know what I'm saying? I hate that.
I know you got some.
You know
I had a conversation with a lady I took on a date for New Year's, and she said, what is it that I could have done? Because we both expressed that we've had a great experience with each other, and she said, what is it that I could have done more? And I said, if I initiate the contact between us, reciprocate it.
Yeah.
The notion
for her to text you sometime?
No. This was like she was asking about the context of our first date.
Yeah.
So as a man, I have to gauge I have to be cognizant enough to say, I know that she don't want to be hypersexualized. Yeah. She don't want me to be forceful. Yeah. So if I'm reaching for her, if I'm getting her arm and if we sitting together, I want to know that she's going to initiate a little part of that too. Because if not, it's going to be doubt.
Rub my knee a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
If I'm doing
wipe something off my shoulders if I got, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I'm for real. Like,
but those are the things that women can do to be engaged and show that interest. And I think sometimes it's just absent. It's
these women don't have no game, bro.
It's pride. Yeah. It's pride. It's fear of rejection. Yeah. It's.
And that's the thing. But if I initiate it, why would I reject you then? And what I realize is it's not true. It's the idea of rejection, not really
the reality.
Met with
that reality. An example.
And I'll add another layer to it. I think for some women.
But hold on, Mark ain't an emotional nigga. I just want to know that. To let them know.
But I'm very romantic.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
I think for a lot of women, there's this. So I always say when a woman really likes a man, she has to stop herself from doing too much. All right? And especially when she's already gone through some stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think what happens is some women overcompensate by not trying to do too much, by doing nothing at all or barely any. Because they're afraid that if I open this door, I can't handle it and I'm going to now be thirsty. Or I'm going to be... So it's like she doesn't have confidence she can stay at just rubbing the thing off your shoulder. You see what I'm saying? Without it going even further than that. So she holds back even more. So again, a lot of that is just a lack of healing. You know what I'm saying? And just understanding that you got to find that balance of showing interest and still knowing how to draw a line when necessary.
To add to that, I always tell women this. I'm very big on tokens. So my philosophy is if a man goes out of his way, plans, y'all have had conversations prior to date. He plans these dates. He's showing you a good time. He's engaging in conversation. At some point in time, in the first 2 or 3 dates, you should know what his interests are. Go and give him a token. You can stop by Marshall's, Ross, TJ Maxx, wherever you want to stop. If he's a cigar enthusiast, you can pick him up something that costs less than $10. I get so much pushback from that because of what the women don't want to invest in, the messaging they don't want.
They be like, I might as well wear the pants then.
Or they'll say, no, I done gave to a man. And I'm like, no, we're not talking about that.
That's the thing. Because to her, she did that once. Yeah. She got burned by that man. The problem is when they get burned, they don't view it as that man was the issue. They view it as this action was the issue. Oh, I was too sweet. I was too loving. I was too vulnerable. I was too feminine. And that's what got me hurt. Rather than who you selected to deal with was the problem. You see what I'm saying? And now they project that onto the other men, and it just becomes this very negative cycle. But that's why I think also men have to understand, because it's not to make excuses for people who are damaged and need to get healing. But that's why I always say when you see a red flag, you just don't run from it, you address it. So
like
if
that.
you know what I'm saying, if that woman's not reciprocating or giving what you need, and you do like her, and you do think this is potential here, you gotta say, listen, I'm not seeing this from you. And if you want this to continue, because my thing is this: there's a lot of women who once the fear of losing you kicks in, oh, they're gonna let a little bit of that wall down. Now, again, all problems ain't solved. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All problems ain't solved. All right, it could be in the moment. So you have to be mindful of, it's not just getting her to do the action, it's addressing why did you hold back in the first place?
Yeah.
Why do you not trust me yet? Do you feel like, you know what I'm saying, what's going on here?
And I think that's important because we are in a culture, this throwaway culture, where it's like, oh, that's a red flag, leave. Mm-hmm. Like some red flags are just warnings that, okay, maybe you need a tune-up or oil change. You know what I'm saying? It don't always got to be throw the whole person away. Let's work, because I'm big on that. I'm big on, well, how can we work this out, our differences out, versus me trash, because like you told me and Mark back in the day, the 80-20 rule. I swear to God, that sits with me every time.
What I said about the 80-20 rule?
You said you said always know when you're going to deal with a woman and you're trying to consider keeping her, you always said, look, you have to be willing to accept that it's going to be 80% of the things you do want and that you love and you like, but you got to be willing to accept that 20%
that wasn't me.
That you ain't. I swear to God, you said that.
That wasn't me.
Bro, and that wasn't the first. I had heard that a lot before.
Listen, the reason why I say it wasn't me, I hate the 80-20 rule. Yes, because my issue with the 80-20 rule is that it creates this idea of you have to sacrifice some things if the majority is good. Which it's okay if what you're sacrificing aren't really important to you. So, for example, I would love a woman who knows how to cook.
Yeah.
But not knowing how to cook is not a deal breaker.
I remember you saying
so that's a 20% I can release and say, all right, that's not a big deal. But let's just say, I don't know, keeping herself up physically. That's important to me.
Very important.
That's not a 20% I'm giving up. You see what I'm saying? I'm not throwing that in the 20% pot. People want to make it seem like, well, if they're this and they're that, even if they don't have certain things you really wanted, just ride with it anyway. Hell no. It's all, you have to get what you need if this is going to work. And I do believe people make it seem like
you don't like 80-20 at all.
At all. Unless it's under the idea of the 20 that you're overlooking is 20% that is not really important to you. It's not going to make or break the relationship.
That makes sense.
My thing is this. You got to ask yourself if getting that 80% is enough for me to pour into them all that they need.
Got you.
So the difference between what y'all saying is his is like a weighted 80-20. Yeah. So yours is like 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
His is like, no, them two could really be 40,
exactly.
50%.
Got you. I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Damn. I need to ask you if I'm petty for this, because I do a lot of entertaining. So I just need to know, like, if I love cooking. So oftentimes people come over, whether it's a group or individuals, and I fix the food. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And these women will sit there and watch me clean up the whole. Now look, a part of me is like, this is my space.
No.
I already expect to do it, but I be cooking and women just be sitting there chilling.
She gonna pitch in and do nothing. Huh?
So most of them don't ask. They don't be like, you good, or. And I like the spring into action type women anyway, especially because I'm doing the cooking and bought the food and all of that. It be women just be sitting.
So that's
chilling.
what you're supposed to do. You the man. You the provider.
But you see, and that's, to me, that's the thing. Like, all right, so is your question, is it paid to just cut them off after that?
I ain't saying cut them off, but I really be side-eyeing the fuck out of people.
He thinking, is he tripping for, like, having that desire for them to pitch in? And
No, you're not tripping for having that desire, and you ain't tripping that you're looking at them sideways. But this goes back to red flag, need to address it. Because this, like, the first time, you might be able to push past it. But if this keeps happening, you're going to get pissed. You're going to start to resent the fact that she don't ever help out. So you can't just overlook it. You got to bring it to her attention. Now, if her response is like how D'Amico just mimicked, where she's like, nah, that's your job or whatever, all right, now you drop her.
Fact.
Now there's nothing to talk about, all right?
But
if she's like, oh, you know what, I'm so sorry, you're right, I can do better than that, and now she starts doing it, all right, problem solved.
So we look at red flags. Generally in our society.
I actually like that, because recently I even told a chick, like a chick that I'm seeing, and I haven't told her about to you yet because I gotta wait. But I told her about because usually I just let stuff fly, like Mark said. let it fly, be a man, man up. It ain't nothing.
Who say that?
No, I ain't say you said that, but I'm saying like
Oh.
that mentality. Again, I'm more old school with it, so let it fly.
Country, you know.
But it's like I did address it with her today, because I was like, and with the help of my therapist, it's like it's not good to just hold stuff in and just let it slide. So I let her know how I felt, and it was uncomfortable for me. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm not used to being that vulnerable with the chick. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to just taking it all in and dealing with it. So I told her, and then to my shock, she didn't, like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It wasn't gonna be like she's like, oh, all right, well, if you don't like me how I am, X, Y. She handled it like a mature adult. You know, we had a real conversation about it, and I don't feel at all that she likes me any less because I was vulnerable about her with something else.
You see, and that's the key. I think a lot of dudes don't speak up because they're either afraid to lose the girl or she gonna look at you different or whatever. F all that. You know what I'm saying? If she can't respect what is a reasonable request, or she doesn't align with what you need in a relationship the same way you need to align with what she needs, there ain't no point to continue. You got to be able to speak it with the like there's a great quote that I saw that says, confidence isn't the belief you'll always get it right, it's not being afraid to get it wrong.
Yeah, I think that was my quote. I said that back in '96.
And that's the thing. You can't be afraid of loser. You can't be afraid of what's gonna happen. It's just, this is the truth. I gotta speak it.
Yeah.
And either we're gonna get it together or we're not.
So what I'm hearing is we usually use red flags as like soccer penalty flags. You out. We really need to use it more like a football challenge flag. Like, this is an opportunity to see if we can get it right.
Exactly.
I just came up with that.
Absolutely.
Hosting
all right, so I want to get to marriage, because I think we always talk about the before part, and not necessarily, people see marriage as a destination. But before I ask that, what's some advice you got for like single parents, like wanting to date and then dating single parents?
Yeah, because there is a scrutiny, going on about, especially single mothers, that they aren't desired or wanted.
It's my preference.
We live in Atlanta, and that's our norm for the most part.
Not even in Atlanta, just
facts. But that's not, and I'm not to say that a woman isn't to think twice before she lays down and makes children with a dude. But I am to say that they're here, and some of them are really good women. Some of them ain't shit, but there are some of them who are really good women, and we date them, have been in with them, relationships, cultivated great friendships with them. So I also want to kind of like, what do you think? What you trying to say? Is there any hope for single mothers? Or?
No.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell you.
I was asking. So for people who want to date single parents, what advice do you have in terms of how? Because it's a lot of patience that goes into it. It's a lot of understanding that goes into it.
Yeah.
What is it, some things that you might need to consider before dating? And then if you are a single parent, what are some things you got to consider while dating?
Okay. So I'm going to start with the single parent, what they got to consider. I think, so one of the things I don't like from a lot of single parents is using the kids as an excuse. All right? And so they scapegoat the children to relinquish responsibility of creating an environment that allows someone to come into your life with you having a child. So it's like, all right, if you are the single parent and you want a relationship, you got to make space for somebody.
Facts,
you got to create structure to where the kids can have their time, but your partner's going to need their time. Nobody wants to feel like they have to compete with your child for your love and attention. You know what I'm saying?
We watch Power on weekends together, babe.
Yeah, and again, it's not neglect the kids, it's create a proper balance that, pours into everybody as needed. As well as if you have any baby mama or baby daddy drama, you got to clear that up.
Facts,
you can't expect people to want to walk into your life and have to now take on that as well. The child is one thing. Now we got to deal with a crazy co-parent as well. So I think as the single parent, it's about, again, evaluating what's going to make it easier for someone to walk into my life and be in this relationship. You know what I'm saying?
That's very fair, bro.
And I also think that I think women and men, but I think this happens more with women, because there's this idea of, well, you now get with this man, but because he's not the father, he's not allowed to discipline your child. but he's buying the child food. He's taking care of certain things. He's doing all this stuff, but God forbid he's allowed to discipline that child. There has to be some reconciliation as far as how we're going to properly handle this to where the man can still have the respect in the household necessary, where of course there might be certain lines where he has to consult with the mother of the child or whatever. But I think, all that needs to be considered. Now, for the person who is looking to date or open to or considering or just thinking about the topic of dating a single parent, I think it's, again, yes, there is a level of patience and understanding that they do have a child and that, they're not going to have as much of a flexibility. However, I think it's just about, like, to me, I don't believe in the whole writing off single parents or single mothers either. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's about, again, connection. And if you have a connection with someone as a kid, why? Like, it's hard enough to find that right partner.
Facts.
And you're going to eliminate that because they had a child?
Right.
To me, don't eliminate them because they had a child. Eliminate them because they're unwilling to create the space for you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So it's like, all right, if I hear a lot of men, they say, well, you'll never have that respect in the household. Right. But if she gives you that, right, then why are we writing her off? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. There are some women out there who are really good at, she wants a man, they make it easier for you to transition into being in the household with their kids. You're right about that. And at the same time, I do think that there are women out there who have kids and they're still not even stable themselves, but they have all these standards and high expectations of men as if they're coming to the table the same woman as they were prior to the kids.
And so that's why, that's another reason why, to me, I'm always focusing on connection.
Gotcha.
People are getting in their own way.
True.
Because they want this potential partner to fit this specific box.
True.
Rather than, my thing is this, there's two things to look at. One, are you attracted to them? Because that's what's going to be the initial thing that pretty much allows us to even open this door. And then once we start talking, is there connection? If those two things are there, everything else can be worked out as far as I'm concerned. But just focus on that. But you're right. You have some women, and I think that's where they get themselves in trouble. Where, yes, when people start to say, because not to say,
yeah, I get you.
When some people start to say like that 10% of men, so to speak, don't want a single mother, they have to understand that yes, it's less likely for him to want it, and I do think there's a truth to the fact that okay. Typically, not all, and that's the thing. Anytime somebody speaks in the absolute, that's the problem.
Facts.
It's never all men in this group don't want a single mother. But do men start to get a little pickier when their money gets up? Yes, they do. And if that's not going to be appealing to a lot of guys, then yeah.
That's fact.
But to me, it's like, why you got to be in the 10%?
Yeah.
If you can find your happiness outside that 10%, isn't that not more important? There's always going to be a trade-off.
Yeah,
So it's just accepting,
I agree. I say it all the time. Like, my grandfather was a great man, but he collected trash for a living and retired as a trash man. But had great pension benefits. My grandma ain't never had to work, after he died.
And there's a lot of women who won't go for it. I met a dude one time when I was walking in Atlantic Station, and he stopped me because he recognized me, and he was like, man, he's having a hard time with dating. He said he asked ththese girls, he makes 70 grand, he's a truck driver.
Okay. That's good money still, man.
Exactly. He said, he would ask women, listen, if you were to get married, your husband makes 70 grand, you don't have to work, the bills will be paid, and you'll get like a $700 a month, just like an allowance to do whatever. Damn. Oh, that's not enough. That's not gonna work. He said, this was the kicker. He said, it didn't matter the like he asked the stripper once, stripper shot it down. He asked the girl who's a cashier at the dollar store or something like that. She was shooting it. He said it didn't matter what level of woman he asked. Every woman he asked. Now of course, there may be tons of other women he just didn't talk to that would accept it. Yeah. But a lot of women that he came across all shot it down. And that to me is where this gets trickier. It's like I think again people are just getting caught up with what they think it should all be, rather than, okay, but if the vibe is there and you guys can live a good life, what's the problem?
That's why I always say, like, I tell a lot of black guys who follow me on Facebook, because that's what my platform is. On Facebook, it's like, look, don't stop paying attention and giving attention to women who are heavily influenced by social media. Because when a lot of these women on social media, they want to fit the status quo of what a social media power couple looks like.
Yeah.
Do TikToks together and all that stuff.
And not to cut you off, but here's what's crazy.
Yeah.
They don't understand how a lot of those women are with broke dudes too.
Ooh.
I have some people who I've talked to behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All right, when you look at them on Instagram, you're thinking, oh man, they doing it, and this man popping. She's like, yo, she paid for everything.
Damn.
Everything. And you would never know. You know what I'm saying? And that's and so
real,
on the
though.
flip side,
That's real.
that's why I be like, when dudes think you can't get a good looking, and this one that I'm thinking about right now, she's bad, she's beautiful, all right? So this isn't no average below, no, this is top of the line.
Oh, piece. Okay.
And I'm like, when you think you can't get a good looking woman because you don't have money, that's not true. But I think, I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I'll say this. If you know how to present yourself, properly, you can get them. You can at least get because the key with a lot of women is just get your foot in the door. Once your foot in the door, if you have the personality that vibes with them, you have a legitimate shot. Once upon a time, a lot of women ended up with dudes who weren't the greatest looking or the richest. Why? Because they may have worked together and he had time to get to know her, or for her to, for him to basically not work her over, but, get in good with her. And nowadays you have less of that opportunity. But I asked myself, I said, okay, how are these women, because again, it's happened so often.
That's crazy.
How are these women ending up with these broke dudes? Now, it dawned on me. So I'm just going to give one example.
Okay.
All right? Not saying this is the common example, just one example. Girl goes to a club, let's say a club in Atlanta, dude's in the section, all right? Dude's dressed nice. He's hanging out with other dudes that got money. To her in that moment, he looked like he got himself together. All right? So the presentation opens the door. By the time she finds out a week or 2 weeks later that he don't got it like that, she already likes him too much.
True.
Now she doesn't want to let go.
True,
now
bro.
I'm not telling dudes to trick women. But I am saying if you at least present yourself, it's almost like dress for the position that you want. All right? If you show up a certain way, you will have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't have your money completely together yet.
So let's move backwards a little bit because we're going back to the single parenting joint. So
Okay.
I have conversations.
I just want some direct advice. Go ahead.
I had these conversations often. I ain't no coach, you know what I'm saying? But oftentimes, so my philosophy when it comes to parenting is, if you around me, you can be around my child. I think I have good enough discernment to say, you ain't that type. So my son gets introduced to people. This is my friend, this is my friend, this is my homie, yada, yada, yada. And so then if I need to, I'll tell him about the nature of our relationship over time if he's seen me like intimately with somebody or something like that. On the flip side, I see a lot of women saying I don't need no man meeting my kid up until
Boy, that's a lot.
a certain point. A certain point.
I don't
And
listen
so
on the first night. But go ahead.
they hopeful. And so I always urge against that. I'm not saying my method is the best, but you should never have it to where the only relationship your child sees with you and a man is a potentially failed relationship that's about to happen. How do you feel about that in terms of ingratiating kids into the dynamics that you have with people?
To be honest with you, I feel like the kid should not meet the other person until you know you want to move forward with that person. I think the caveat to that is if you are just introducing everyone as a friend and there are boundaries put up so that the child does not see what's going on. Because again, children they're not stupid.
Right.
They can pick up on stuff.
Mom got
Now,
a lot of friends.
if you can honestly say this is so separate that they're not catching on anything, maybe. But the reason why I'm against introducing them too fast, especially for women, is because one, you have a lot of women that get stuck or struggle to let go of someone because now the kid is good with them or they're good with the kid.
Sure.
And so now, even though she's not really into him anymore, she doesn't want to break up this new family that's been created, so to speak, all right? So that makes it hard for her to walk away. You got some dudes who will intentionally get in good with the child to, make it hard for you to let him go and use it against you at some point. You also take the risk of creating bonds with people that are going to have to leave very fast. Now, of course, that can happen after you get in an official relationship, but at least that minimizes the chances if we're doing it after we say, okay, we know we want to be together. We know we have that connection. Now let's talk. Let's meet the kids. Let's now take that next level. Because I know the other concern is, well, what if they don't like the kids? Or the kids don't like them? I'm a firm believer that depending on the age of the children, number one, you cannot rely upon the child liking them or not because you don't know what underlying issues are playing into their perception of your partner. If, for example, they're still holding on to you getting back with their father or their mother one day, they're not going to care for anyone you bring. Or they may only like them because this person gives them a gift or does nice things for them, stuff like that.
I'm all for robbery.
You know, you have to be mindful of, is your child even mature enough to give an unbiased perspective of this individual? And to me, I'm a firm believer that if the child sees you genuinely happy, they're going to be happy too. When children don't like the other person, it's either underlying issues or they're seeing the stuff that you don't want to acknowledge. They're seeing the arguing. They're seeing this negativity that exists there, but you want to make excuses and still hold on to the person. So yeah, they don't like them. You know what I'm saying? So to me, but I cannot think of a situation where there was true harmony between this man and the woman and the child outside of other issues did not like them or had an issue with it.
Because usually a kid want to see their parent happy, especially a mom. You know, little kid want to see their mom happy with somebody.
And not just that, because what happens is this. When you're truly happy, you start being better towards them. And they're like, well, damn, whatever got you right, keep it going.
Let me go outside on Thursday.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, they'll appreciate it now. So to me, they're going to feed off of that if you're truly happy with this person.
What's some questions that we don't ask enough when it comes to how we approach relationships and dating?
Before the commitment phase?
Yeah.
Questions we don't ask enough.
That could really help us in understanding our partner and understanding if we're making a good decision in the partner we choose.
I mean, I think one, have you healed from your past is a big one. You know, and I know that's tough to ask, but I do, like any kind of way of discussing what may have lingered from previous relationships. And has it been addressed? What have you learned from your past relationships? Because anybody who's had previous relationships that failed and can't tell you what they've learned, and without it being about, yeah, well, men are this or women are that or something negative, oh, that's trouble. It's absolute trouble. That means at no point in life do they stop and start to self-reflect or hold themselves accountable for whatever role they may have played in this. And the role may not be you were treating them bad or whatever. Your role may have been, I made a bad choice based off of, I was lonely or I was this or whatever. That still shows growth. So you want to ask questions that are able to show you, is this person growing or are they just staying stagnant or going backwards? That to me is a huge thing. And then I think it's questions based off of what you need specifically. So whatever your needs and desires are they down for that? And I think a good thing to do is like come up with random scenarios and say, how would you handle that? If this happened, I remember asking a girl one time, I said, okay, if we were at a club, or I was at a club, you at a different club, and you found out I was dancing with a woman, how would you feel? Like, let's discuss these. We don't need to wait till this happens. Let's see where your head is at. How, what's the boundaries here?
I don't know. I don't like all these hypotheticals.
Oh, well, then you ain't ready for a relationship then. You ain't ready for a relationship then. And again, it ain't no guarantee that they're going to give you honest answers. Right. But I will say this. I think most people do give honest answers if you ask enough questions. Yeah. So I think just, coming up with scenarios, asking about the growth, the past, just making sure you guys are on the same page.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that reality shows have negatively influenced how we conduct dating and romance and even relationships with each other?
Hell yeah. I think reality shows are poison. I think TV is poison, to be honest with you.
You just zoomed out on the whole thing.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, for the past, month now, TV has been off. I may watch maybe for an hour at the end of the night when everything else is done. But during the day, I used to leave it on, do my work, thinking it was doing no harm. Then I turned it off and I realized my focus got way better. Just turning it off. Even though I was never really sitting down and just watching all the way through. Yeah. It's distracting in different ways, but
do you offset that by engaging in your phone and social media more?
So I was conscious of the goal was to eliminate that and lessen social media and the phone. I'm still working on the social media and the phone. That can be tough, especially with the business.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't use it as a substitute. You see what I'm saying? It's not a substitute. It's just, all right, trying to get it to a lower level than it was even when the TV was on. But I think, again, those shows, it's just all this negative imagery and these negative perceptions. And it creates this what happens is, like, I'll give an example where I remember feeling like there's no clubs you can dance at in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
I used to be like, everything is sections.
Yeah, facts.
And then one day, I had to go meet with some homeboys at this hotel. And then while I was there with my homeboy, we hear music. I'm like, what's going on? What's that? And it's really good music. So we're like, yo, let's go check it out. So we go, and it's this big bar club, people dancing. And I'm like, this is right around the corner from my house. Yet here this whole time, I'm like, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. People see social media and think what they see is all that exists, that nothing exists beyond that. And you know what? To go back even to the whole going out the country for a woman.
Yeah, talk to me.
We're so quick to go out the country not realizing there's small towns in the U.S. you know nothing about that have the same kind of vibe.
That's a fact.
That have old-fashioned values. Everybody is not Atlanta, L.A., and New York. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we see. Everything we see on TV, social media is big city type of stuff, glamour, extra, everything like that.
I knew it was cap when dudes didn't even walk around with a hole in their t-shirt. I'm like, every dude at least got some big t-shirt around. I'm like, they every time they even in these people's houses, I'm like, they don't walk around in just regular torn up clothes. Like, come on now. I know a black woman walk around her crib with just a ponytail, but on the TV show, hair all made up, all it made up. I'm like, yo, like this stuff is big time misleading, man, because it's like it's not the reality of a lot of healthy relationships and marriages that I know of. Like, you talking about people who every episode, there's always this big meeting about this fight that they had that leads to another fight in the meeting. And I'm like it shows us in a toxic way, in a very materialistic way. Everybody driving foreigns. So don't nobody got a Ford in the family. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
I got a Toyota.
And let me give another quick example. Like, I remember years ago, a story came out where a black man got rejected by this black woman, and they ended up killing her.
Oh yes, man.
Right? And I think a few days later, another one like shot at a woman. Yeah. And I remember seeing on the comments, "Oh, our black men don't protect us. They're all against us." And in my head, I'm like, okay, I could give y'all 100 stories of men that got rejected and nothing negative happened, were respectful, whatever. And y'all would never say, oh, our black men love us and respect us. But the minute one knucklehead does, and of course it's more than one, but it's a small, tiny percentage, and that becomes the perception of all. Yep. And this is what happens with social media. The minority is made to look like the majority.
I say the same thing when it comes to black men dating outside of their race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I always challenge women. So
That's
I tell them, for every one person, one celebrity you can name that is married to somebody other than black, I can name 3 to 4. And that's just being lazy about it.
And it's crazy because the more money and success or education a man has, the more likelihood he actually is to marry a black woman. And it's crazy. Me and you, we all in 6 foot, some 7. But it's like we all.
There you go, Stefan. Like, now you shit out there.
You know, we all talk about just being with a black woman or committed to a black woman. So when I always see that narrative about I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should fuck with these white women. Like these black women don't think that no matter how many of them we dated, no matter how many we took on dates and treated nice and have great things, helped them X, Y, and Z. It's like it's like, man, if as a black man, it does make you feel at the end of the day, like, damn, I'm an enemy to my own people.
Yeah, we talked about this. We both in a lot of like social groups, like we do online dating and all of that, and it creates a level of fatigue. And if on one part you get the fatigue of just swipers fatigue, so on online dating and stuff like that, and people seem like they got unrealistic expectations.
Hell yeah.
Then you get in these groups, And every woman deserves to get flown out.
Oh my God.
Every woman,
Bro, that is
like,
the new thing now.
everybody want to be with somebody's son, and somebody's son looks like Michael B. Jordan.
I'm young enough for the son and the dad.
Every woman want a man over 6 feet because everybody is over 6 feet.
Right.
It's these things, and I ask myself often, do we even have realistic expectations of one another as we approach dating? Because we always think we're going to get something better, but realistically, and not to quote your boy, a lot of people going to die alone because of how our perception is about what we have out here. Yeah. And it's not even to like bash anybody, but the reality is we don't even do the self-assessment first. Yeah. We look at what we want and believe that because
we deserve it.
And we check the wrong boxes too. Yeah. Right? Like, I deserve a 6 foot, 6-figure man
First
because...
Off, you gonna stop coming for a 6 foot man. I'll let you slide.
6'4", calm down. I used to call you 6'3". I gave you a little respect. Calm down. But we start checking these boxes that have nothing to do with what our companions or the people that we want. But we just not even... the reality about ourselves don't really set in as often.
We tired of this shit, man. Stefan, to be honest with you, man.
You sound tired.
For real, bro. Like
me
and Mark don't took so many breaks
from the straps off your bra.
You feel that way, bro, because it's just like you want to do right. You just want a good woman you can do right by, have a great time with, live a life with.
I think we oversimplified though.
You think so?
Yeah, you know you like baddies.
But y'all swear I ain't never brought a baddie to y'all. I always bring average looking women around y'all.
I hope none of your exes are listening to this.
I just bring regular, homely women who can dress a little bit.
They're very attractive to me, but they are very attractive women, but they're not bad. They're not like trying to be seen by everybody and be a top 10 chick and to get all this work done just to like.
But let me tell you, I think part of the problem is one, people need to get out more. I think the over analyzation and high expectations come from living online too much. Yeah. All right. So one thing I've learned is that when you're looking at people online, it gives you time to find something wrong. When you meet them in person, your brain goes to finding what's right. You see what I'm saying? So when you see somebody at a bar, at the gym, whatever attracts you, and you just jump right to that. When you're looking at their picture on Instagram, you're analyzing their whole thing, and that nose too big, or this is that, or she does this, or she does. There's all these other factors now that comes into play. So I think getting offline would help a lot of people see better results. I do think that yes, there's some unrealistic expectations, but I also think that people talk a lot, but that's not what they actually do. Again, there's a lot of women saying, I would never date no broke dude. Who's with a broke dude? There's a lot of men that'll say, I'd never be with a girl who did OnlyFans, and your chick was on OnlyFans. Like, or stripper. Like, so many people say things, but that's not how it actually plays out. So I think that, again,
I've seen chicks on social media say the type of dudes they want to. And I know for a fact she got a dude like that sleeping on a couch.
Exactly.
For a fact.
Again, you can't get caught up in the noise online. I think at the end of the day, if you're not getting your results, if you aren't living online, you are getting out, and you're not getting the results you're looking for, then the next question is, what can I do to improve my results? What may I be lacking? Rather than, it's the landscape, it's the people, it's that. No. It's, are you truly, because sometimes we think we're better than we are. Mm-hmm. That's true. And that happens on both sides, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we think that where we are at should be enough, but there might be a couple things we need to tweak. Right. You know what I'm saying? And if we just tweak them, just like that, it can come so much easier.
I got like 3 more questions. All right, go ahead. One of them is, how do you stop in dating from seeming like first dates from seeming like an interview?
To me, that's tough because I think, especially as people get older, they're not trying to play no games. They're trying to get right to it. Like, all right, do we think the same way? Are we on the same page? What's going on here? Do we want the same things?
You got hair on your feet.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You got hair on your
face. I think ideally people would go with the flow of the first date. And when I say go with the flow, like it's an intentional attempt to get to know each other, but let the conversation flow. Not it has to be these specific questions that get asked on day one. Just see, can we talk to each other?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do we get along? You know, and do we enjoy each other's presence? That to me is the foundational piece of date one. Then dates after that can get more into very specific questions and things like that. So I think that's how to at least minimize the interrogation feel of it. But there's still going to be some level of it's an interview.
I'm glad you said about the get out thing, because you will be surprised about what you actually like versus what you think you like.
Exactly.
If you just really just ran into her.
You know how many girls I've seen online that I was like, nah, I wouldn't talk to her. And then meet them in line. Oh, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
She didn't post that angle of herself.
You know, like, it's just and it's sometimes a different vibe. It's just,
bro,
it's not
facts.
even, you know what I'm saying, that, oh, well, she had a better body than I thought. No, it's just, once you're in person, the I don't know if it's the hormones, the energy, whatever, something else is clicking that allows it to move forward a lot easier.
Some girls, I would look at her online and I might think like she might be a little snobby or mean girl.
Uh-huh.
And I met her in person, like, yo, she cool as hell.
Exactly.
It's interesting too, because when I didn't go out as much and I was just swiping, I'm like, why the fuck I'm meeting all these introverts? When did the world become so lopsided with weird, non-social introverts? And not a knock on introverts. Some people got good balance. But then I was like, this shit is agitating. Like, I'm a pretty social person. I like to be engaged, but the disconnect that came with online dating was like, fuck this. And then I got out. I went to an event. Shout out to Wine Wednesday. And you start meeting these people, and it was like networking. And it wasn't even just for people shooting their shots. It was like, yo, these people are really engaging with you. These human conversations are happening and make you feel a lot better just to know that there's a real person that you ain't got to go through bullshit with just to see their face.
And that's why I think, like Stefan said earlier, it's healthy for a lot of black men out there to actually get out and meet and interact with women. Not even from the standpoint of getting a phone number or trying to get the cheeks.
Exactly.
But just know what it. Because it does build your esteem.
It builds your esteem and it builds conversation skills. A lot of dudes don't know how to have a conversation. So by getting out more and just talking and just learning, it's gonna make a lot of things better. Plus, like I said, testosterone boost at least 14%. That's a nice little bonus right there.
That's a fact. I'm assured now, baby.
So going back, we talk a lot about dating, relationships. Let's go to like when you get married. What did you like? I know forever is a long time for a lot of people, and so even in my mind, I play it out. It's like it's like Outkast. It's like Outkast when it's like forever, and then I start looking at a person different because I think sometimes I do get nitpicky, but how do you maintain freshness over time? When you are dealing with somebody and you see the ins and outs and things can get so mundane, especially like working from home or whatnot. Yeah. How do you break out of that? Yeah, break out of that and keep that intrigue with your partner.
To be honest with you, I think it just boils down to people maintaining what they fell in love with to begin with. Like I always say, to me, I am actually someone who believes monogamy is natural. All right, that there is something in us that attaches ourselves.
The whole temps are gonna and put this as a YouTube clip.
Listen, because think about it like this: if monogamy wasn't natural at all, no one would be able to maintain long-term relationships. The problem isn't maintaining a long-term relationship; it's maintaining the attraction long-term, maintaining the treatment long-term. So essentially, you would be very hard pressed, or it would be very difficult to find a situation where two people lost the flame and they're doing all the things they did when they first met each other and fell in love.
Hey, that's a fact, though.
Or look the same way. It's always an excuse. Well, life comes and this, and blah, 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 blah.
I'm scared to have a housewife.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and listen, the attraction is a huge piece. That's a huge piece. And that's on both sides, men and women, because there's men who let themselves go. There's women who let themselves go. And if attraction is what allowed us to even be with each other, if you take that away, how the hell are we going to stay together? It's not going to work. We might physically stay together, but we're not going to have that same interest, that same level of respect, that same intimacy anymore. So I think as long as we evaluate, okay, this is what I loved about you. This is what you loved about me. That's what we have to maintain. And we can't just be making excuses. And I believe that if you maintain that, now, listen, I don't know if there's an expiration date on that too. Maybe, and I think that, and I also will say this. The other reason why I think monogamy is natural is that I've come to believe that there's two types of men out there. I kind of label them as boss and worker. All right? The worker is the dude that if he's getting his needs met and has what he's looking for, he's good. So he's the guy that if he's working at a job making 60 grand and he has food on the table, a roof over his head, a woman giving him sex, he's good. He's not looking for, I got to do more and accomplish more. He's okay where he's at. That guy is much more likely to be like, yo, as long as this woman is pouring into me what I need, I have no reason to go out there. And I don't have to drive. I'm just not ambitious like that to even look to try to make other things happen. Yeah. Then there's the boss dude who's a much more ambitious, driven guy. He's the guy that it's going to be harder for him to maybe maintain monogamy. A lot of dudes I meet in that realm struggle with that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that kind of keeps some of them grounded is maybe relationships with God. Yeah. There's other different things that might play into it. I still think that if there's a real connection and they maintain what they fell in love with each other with, there's at least a better chance than people think at that monogamy lasting. Yeah, all right.
I think a lot of dudes make the mistake of trying to. I think a lot of dudes who mixing in with most men try to impute non-monogamy is natural, and it's like me personally, I believe both can coexist. Whatever your way of life is, as long as you're not disrupting mine, live your life. But at the same time, just as non-monogamy is a natural way for some men, there are some men, like you said, naturally feel like I'm a naturally monogamous man. Mm-hmm. That's just how I feel. I've always been that way. And I've tried to dive into all type of different relationship spheres. But naturally, I feel most safest, I feel most good, I feel most strong when I'm just committed to just one woman. That's just how and you know I'm a lover.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And let me say this too real quick, not to cut you off, but...
Well, he can say that all day. Respectfully.
Because I don't want to forget. A lot of dudes who make the argument of polygamy, multiple wives, whatever...
Broke!
And that's one thing. But what they always seem to overlook is that even in previous civilizations, tribes, whatever, that they had it was not the majority of men. It was a small subset of men who had who had the multiple. Yeah. The rest were happy to get one if they could even get one.
Hey, that's a fact.
So they make it seem like it was like every dude's just getting
Every dude wasn't Abraham.
Exactly.
There was some Jonathan.
Exactly. So again, it goes back to I really believe the majority of men are in that pool of they can have that one who pours into them and gives them what they need. They're good. And then, yes, there's that subset of men that they like more. They want more.
Shout out to my uncle with
you know?
Well, all right, so I'm going to shoot you one question and Mark will shoot you last one. So, for the ladies out there, especially the Christian women, you know what I'm saying, and the whole the hipsters, because you kind of a hippie at heart, too. What is your type, man? Like, what do you... What is it going to take for a woman to lock you down? You know what I'm saying? And get you to attend church with her.
All right.
Or how can a woman swoon you?
Well, I don't think there's any such thing as she can swoon me because at the end of the day, if I don't feel like there's a connection, because I meet amazing women. Yeah. If the connection's not there, the connection's not there.
To Miko.
All right, huh?
Give something to Miko.
First of all, we don't like the same type of
women. Exactly. All right. So I meet these great women, but again, it's about connection and me being able to say I prayed and God was like, yeah, this is it. Now, outside of those two things, and that's the real like decision makers right there.
Okay, that's your 80.
Exactly. But outside of that, femininity. Okay. I'm big on feminine energy. I'm big on feminine energy. That needs to be there. Someone who embraces healthy living, because I'm all on that healthy living stuff.
Why open your fridge? Why talking about water, fruit, protein bars. Like it was like walking in on an MTV Crib. You know when they straighten up the fridge, you got nothing but
Don
stuff.
Perry.
Bro, and he don't have no alcohol in his crib.
No, that's what it was on.
I got alcohol in there. I just don't be drinking it like
you
that.
do that. You just got
Yeah.
open bottles.
Same
on the
one
counter.
from 3 years ago.
For decoration.
Nah, there's liquor there. Just special occasions,
This guy.
you know, they might be used. But nah. So yeah. So healthy living, keeping yourself up, feminine energy.
Cook, a woman that
That
cooks.
would be ideal.
Oh, okay.
But
because you don't
again,
cook at all.
Yeah, I don't cook at all. So it's not a deal breaker, but it's ideal.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because my thing is this: I need from the woman what I cannot get from other people without it being a problem. So my thing is like I've had a woman say to me, "Oh, you need a woman that can take care of the finance." No, I don't. I can hire an accountant. I can hire a business manager.
Right.
So that's not a priority for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Her being feminine, attractive, all these, that's a priority because if I get that from someone else, we got a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even the cooking thing, I can technically get that from somewhere else. So it's not that serious of an issue.
Right.
But yes, it would be ideal that she knows how to. And honestly, somebody is very free-spirited. So
I told you was a hippie. You're a hippie, bro.
I realize she's got to have a free spirit to her. Someone that can she doesn't need me around all the time to enjoy life. She can do her own thing. She can go somewhere by herself and she's still good. You know what I'm saying? And just more because I'll say this. I kind of feel like I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it.
Let's go.
So
Come on, baby.
Let's go, Myron.
You got it in you.
Toxic.
So one of my conflicts, and maybe this is a problem within me that needs to be resolved,
Okay.
is I find myself not gravitating towards quote unquote church women
Oh, wow. Okay.
because I feel like a lot of them that I've met are very rigid, very judgmental, and it makes me feel like we don't fit. Because yes, I'm a man of God, but I've lived a life that, I've done things. I've been
Your
wilder.
pastor might be in line with you.
And so my thing is
You don't want her judging you and thinking that you're some evil fake person because you're human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that requires a very open-minded person.
True.
And to me, that's where, again, the free spirit comes in because I feel like we can give each other grace and understanding that, yes, even though we're on this path, we're still human.
Yeah.
We may still have some things we're working out through with ourselves, old habits that we got to get rid of, whatever. But we're not going to define who we are because of this one mistake or this one thing or whatever. I just feel like that allows more growth
I agree.
and coming together more.
And
so
it can help y'all have like honest conversations with each
and
other.
that's another thing, yes. Because I'm someone that wants to be able to talk about everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've even told a woman before, listen, if we were to get married and 15 years from now you getting an itch because you want to try something different, let's just talk about it.
Gotcha.
Let's talk about it and we address it. We'll figure out what we got to do. But
Right.
don't do nothing shady. I won't do nothing shady. Let's just discuss it.
That's good.
You know, whatever the issue. Hell, if I'm falling off in the bedroom, tell me. Don't be afraid to criticize me. No, I want to hear it. So when we can create that environment where we can talk about anything, that's what I want.
And the best way for her to get with you is email or DM. Catch your ass at a conference.
No, book a ticket.
Try
To shoot your shot there.
One more thing. What do you think about people who say single relationship experts shouldn't be giving people that are in relationships and marriages advice?
So there's an analogy that I have, and when people say stuff like that, and they'll say, "Well, you should go to someone who's already married." And my question is, who's the mechanic you trust more? The one who's worked on 100 cars but doesn't own his own, or the one who's fixed his one car that they own?
I love that one.
You know what I'm
You been
saying?
working on that one. I love that one. That's clean.
It hit me one day like,
That's
yo,
clean. That's a
that's
fact,
what it
though.
is. Exactly. So it's like, yo, at this
You want
point,
somebody that's good at what they do or just looks like they can be good at what they do?
or just the fact that the married couple, unless they are also in the field of helping multiple couples, various couples, their wisdom is based off their one experience.
Right.
My wisdom is based off a ton of different
Right,
scenarios.
right,
I'm essentially been married millions of times over because I've seen this one, that one,
I
that.
love that.
So now the small details that some people don't understand, I can.
Yeah.
So to me, it lacks wisdom in people to to not be able to understand how someone in my position can still knowledgeably teach and help others in relationships and stuff like that.
I want you to get that off your chest. I agree with you 100%.
He actually answered the last question. So
what was your last?
Well, it was more so about him and his desires, kind of diving in on that a little bit. But yeah, man. Hey, this been great. It's been a good episode, man.
When I tell you this guy was super prepared,
hey, look, bro. The work got done. I checked all the boxes on the thing.
This guy.
When I want to, I can. But yeah, man. I'm also a person that just like talking about dating and relationship dynamics. So I'm gonna take a break for a little bit, for real.
Okay.
And then
break from dating?
Yeah, and especially like all my dating apps and stuff like that, they down except for Tinder in case we travel a little bit. So yeah, I'm just disengaging a little bit with some of them groups and stuff, and making sure if it happens, I at least want it to be like I gotta pull up on you.
As a divorced man, though, are you looking for? So I know you're not trying to remarry, but are you at least looking for eventually want to have something consistent, or what do you kind of like?
Yeah, like so I used to. I mean, initially when the ink just dried, I was really on some. I'm not against remarrying, but I'm gonna have a little logic mixed with that emotional part too, because it was all emotion the first time, and it has to be something that makes sense. I have to be with an adult. Right now, I find my body's not being receptive to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And so now it's more so about, all right, can I be around people and make these investments in people and vice versa that make sense for me? And so now it's the focus on friendships. It's the focus on just being around my homies and being around women and stuff like that value me as a person and not just as a companion, because those are the people that I want to help, but I also want to see them in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So,
all right, Christian women, he ain't looking for a damn thing.
No, I'm definitely open to it, but she gonna have to be dynamic. That's why, day 2 of keto, I'm about to fuck it up. Let me get slim, boy. It's over.
All right, Stefan, man, that's all we got for you today, man. We appreciate you showing
up.
No
problem. Appreciate it.
All right, bro, we headed out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We done dressed up and got all
Go ahead,
pretty
Miko,
for you.
how you began. Come on.
Yeah, man, we going back to our, you know what I'm saying? We gonna be the stars if you ain't gonna, show up.
Miko that dude that wear the glasses in the club, too.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta hide my eyes, but the ladies fall in love. I just want to clarify to my exes, you are very attractive.
If they following you and listening to you, just hope they rooting for you.
Because no, people do think I just like baddies, and it's just like, bro, I mean to date and have fun, but like, come on, bro, I ain't.
Yeah, man,
But I don't know, bro. I just like a woman that I'm very attracted to, and that's all I ever cared about is what I like. So,
and that's what matters, brother.
That's what matters. Yeah. I am looking to get married though.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
That man looking.
All right,
looking,
Stefan, so where can people find you? How can people get in contact with you?
At Stefan Speaks on all social media platforms, or go to stefanspeakshop.com.
Hey,
Stefan.
Where they gonna find you at, Miko?
Definitely not no shop. You know what I'm saying? But you can find me on Instagram at Fearless Black Men, and you can find me on Facebook, D'Amico's Chambers. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Black Men and Cigars podcast, man. Appreciate you coming on for real.
No problem.
Hey, brother, y'all can find me, since we gonna jump over that, at Mark Anthony on Facebook. You can also find me in your aunt's DM. Recently divorced aunt's DM. Or y'all can find me on IG at bensocial.distancing. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate you, Stefan.
Yes,
and we out this thing.
Hey, bah! I don't know, did you have a good